Liv, I'll do it. Watch.
Do you want the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree? Don't unfriend me. 'Cause
If you guys don't know, you can stop by right now. Go to thedumbshow.com/pages/vidcast. I'm going to put it in chat. If you don't want to be on Facebook, if you don't want to be somewhere other than where you are, you can now go to the website and watch the live show, the Matt and Mike show, or the Don't Unfriend Me show. We have chat there as well, and it streams directly to my site. So if you ever lose me, I can just stream to this site. If we can't get something else done, or the unfortunate happens, you can go watch us over there. Thanks.
everything you want, dance on what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up on the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's stuff.
Good morning, Don't Unfriend Me Nation. What are we?
Hey, Hogs Twins here. Check out our friend Matthew Spirit at his podcast at The Dumb Show and his website, don'tunfriendme.com. Yeah.
It's Red Friday, RED Friday, which stands for Remember Everyone Deployed. A movement designed to honor veterans and deployed U.S. troops by wearing a red shirt every Friday. As simple as that may be, Red Friday is a great way to back those who serve our country. Go to dumbshow.com and search for Red Friday to get your red on.
Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. We've got everybody in the house tonight except for Leroy. What's Leroy's excuse this time? Where is he? Does anyone know?
He's Navy.
Drill, I
I mean,
think?
it just happens.
Is it drill?
Shopping for lingerie.
Shopping for lingerie.
I
Shopping
think
for
he's
a
getting a haircut or something. I don't know.
shopping for a toupee.
Getting a haircut.
Chroming the dome, so to speak. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. You can dial in at 1-804-212-2208. It's, you know what? This is a night of nice cameras and good equipment, not Leroy. So he doesn't have a nice enough camera to be here. So we're going to go ahead and say no. Everybody looks amazing tonight. Mike, I will tell you, whoever set up your lighting is a genius, whoever that guy is.
Oh, I know. If you need a little help, I can pat you on the back so you don't hurt your arm reaching back that
That's
far.
fine.
I know you
Did
need
you
your
want me
Tums
to?
and everything else.
Did you want me to wait for you to crawl over here to do that, or did you just want me
Yes.
to assume that you did it? Let's just do a virtual. Here you go. There's my shoulder.
There you
Give
go.
me a little pat. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you. Ooh, hey, that was a little low.
That's the
I
wrong
like
kind of
it.
pat.
That's the wrong. We don't do that. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. 1-800 or 1-804. We can't afford a 1-800 number. 804-212-2208. You're more than welcome to call in. Got a good show tonight. First, we're going to go ahead and who do I want to start out with?
Doesn't look like Spreely's working again. Oh.
What?
Spreely's not working again. It's not up.
Well, it was up a second ago.
Really?
Yeah. Anybody let me know if Spreely's up?
Because I'm not seeing it.
Well, it was up a second. Did you go to channel 2?
I'm on channel 2. Not working.
Weird. Let's see. Yeah, it is. It's not working on Safari.
I'm on Chrome. At least I should be.
You're on channel 1. That's why.
Here we go.
I just asked you channel 2.
I'm switching back and forth.
Well, it's not going to get any better on channel.
Yeah.
Is your audio on?
Well, my volume's muted because it'll go through the show.
It's working for me, sweetie. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm just not seeing.
Is anyone else having a problem with Spreely? Let me know. I don't know what's going on.
I can't see the video.
Yeah, something's weird. Hold on. Let me just check Chrome. Sorry, folks. Don't want to do this, but we've got. Yeah, if everyone could try to check it. That'd be great. That just helps us get back to the show. See if Spreely's working. Yeah, it's working. I don't have video.
That's the thing is I don't have video. I thought.
Anybody have video? You know what? I can't worry about it because what's hilarious is that it does work and it records and then it puts it up right after. So they're still working on getting the bugs ironed out. We got audio. We don't have video. Let's see. See, there you go.
Oh,
Liv.
shit. Sorry.
See, it is. There's Amy cussing. It's not working on Safari.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Close it out. Liv, you're driving us crazy. We're going to get into time warp. Ah! Okay.
So, I don't know. Weird.
Go ahead, Amy.
No, I was just, channel 2. I have video.
You have video. Okay, so it's us. It's because we're broadcasting. And instead of the internet quitting out, I mean, we're putting so much bandwidth out right now. That's why. All right. If you have any problem with the feed, leave and come back in. That's how you do it, okay? Yes, there's going to be a 30-second delay on Spreely. That completely makes sense. And that's not that big of a deal. All right. Now that we got it all dialed in, 1-804-212-2208. We don't have any time to lose. We've got Diablo to play and a weekend to start enjoying. Quickly, introductions. Let's do Olivia. I already did it. I got it under control. Olivia Spear, everybody. Olivia, say good day to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
You didn't say good day.
I don't talk and I can't
I don't talk
accents.
Thai. Jack talk Thai.
I don't do accents.
Jack talk Thai. Very well. Amy, say hello. Das
Hi,
Gavanya.
everyone.
And there's
You're like, holy cannoli. Oh, mother.
And you're like, holy cannoli. Oh, mother of
all right. And then last but not least, so I guess Spreely is working on Roku. That's great. That's good to know. Last but not least, we've got Green Crayons himself, Mr. Mike.
Did you have your crayons today?
Everyone had their crayons today. I'm sure.
Do you sometimes have the urge to eat crayons? No.
Oh yeah, I do.
Shores of Tripoli.
That's just motivation. I
my
just love it every time I see it.
Battles on the air and land and sea. And the sea. We are Navy. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. I don't have a video. I always put others before myself. It's always one of the most important things for me is being a selfless person, being kind.
I can attest.
And always piss off. What the hell's wrong with you people? It's all true. It's all true. Whatever. We're gonna cover a pretty wide range of topics tonight. This one should be interesting. The ladies are bringing us something that's going on in Virginia. It's very concerning. Of course, LCPS is going to deny that it's going on because this is what they do their best at. Fentanyl in our schools. And we've had 3 deaths in the last 3 weeks from kids that are getting a hold of fentanyl in our school system, and they've tracked it back to the school. So this is a very serious crisis. Amy and Olivia are going to tell us all about it, and then I'm going to bring you some stats on it. Carrying a gun in reality. It's not exactly the topic, but we're going to talk about a shooting that an officer took place and what that means for you, and looking at the shooting and what he went through. What does that mean if you're in a live fire situation, and what are some of the things that you should do to make sure that you get home alive? EV vehicles are a joke. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Watch a video of some of the things that are happening in California and all over the country in regards to EV vehicles. And then IDF trolls Lebanon, probably the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. The Israeli Defense Force literally trolled the entire country of Lebanon, and the proverbial penis slap heard around the world. That's a kosher penis, mind you. It was pretty good. Pretty good. Folks, whenever you can fit
kosher penis.
Whenever you can fit kosher penis into a conversation, it's
definitely circumcised.
It's where you want to be.
I guess I should have said that was a little circumspect is what I should have said. But that doesn't. But do we have a rim shot here? I mean, come on, Liv. Seriously. I mean, do we? Mike's even better. Mike crushed the sounds
I'm thinking.
He
I'm looking.
he crushed them. I'll do it.
There we go.
I got a double rim shot. That's nice. That's nice. Where do you guys want to start? You have a choice, 1 through 4. Gosh, Mike, you look good. I mean, just the whole lighting situation and that violet really brings up.
You're just loving that you can pick all the correct colors. If you need any kind of painting, any kind of decor, you know who to go to. Matt Spears. That's what we do.
I'm not plural, Martinez's. Okay? I'm not plural. It's Spear. You don't throw me. Britney Spears ruined my name. Britney Spears ruined our name. It used to be no one ever called me Spears before her. No, it was Spear. I'm not plural. What about the Smithises? Amy Robinsons. Hey, Amy Robinsons. I'm wondering, does that make any sense? No, you're like, dude, that sounds so stupid. Then why does Spears work? Because of Britney. That's why. Freaking Britney. She went crazy. She fell a long way. Yeah. Have you seen what she's been doing lately?
Just a little nuts.
Besides Dancing with Knives? I don't think so.
It's a train wreck.
Dancing with
Is that
Knives.
not normal?
Showing, I mean, my whole dream when she was, doing "Baby Hit Me One More Time," I was thinking she should star in Playboy. Now I'm like, no, maybe Playgirl. She's going through some hard times, man. And now when we look at this, and her dad, he doesn't look so bad after all, does he? Because keeping her money away from her and putting her on lock and key, you kind of go, oh, what a horrible father. Now you maybe know why he did it, because she's certifiable. She's a little wacko. Anyway, what are we talking about first? We have a choice. We can talk about electronic vehicles. We can talk about officer shooting and carrying. We can talk about Lebanon or fentanyl in schools, ladies. Fentanyl in schools it is. Ladies are going to bring us in.
Ladies first, so
ladies first.
Mike, that means your topic. Go ahead.
Oh.
Sorry, I gotta,
Wow. I think what's funny is that I had already thought of that joke, and then I just let it go because I knew it wasn't good enough for the show.
And we all did it.
And then y'all did it. So it's too low brow. I'm kidding. All right. Amy, why don't you start us off and walk through what you want to talk about, and then we'll go ahead and I'll put some supporting documents and stuff up, and we can kind of take a look.
Yeah. So I will say I did a lot of research, not just on Loudoun County. I mean, obviously our kids go to school here. My kids are not in the public school system, so I don't have access to some of the documents, but Liv did send me the email. But I did do some research, not just in our area, but Northern Virginia as a whole. Even Arlington, Fairfax County has a pretty significant problem. A lot of places in Texas, for obvious reasons. Florida's having problems. Although they just got some big people, I guess, who are affiliated with the cartel Sinal. What are they called? The Sinalias or
Sinaloa.
Thank you. That's the one.
The Sinals.
With their cartel, yeah. So I guess they were somehow affiliated with them. They got 1 or 2 people with them in Florida who were pushing, I don't know how many kilos. I think it was 10 kilos of pure fentanyl. So I did a lot of research.
The entire United States.
Yeah, they said it could kill every child in Florida. They're like, this would literally kill every single child in Florida. My real question is not only why is this in our schools? I don't know anything about drugs, believe it or not. It's hard for me to understand where are these children getting these drugs. Where we live is, pretty affluent. We live in one of the wealthiest counties in the nation. But who are these drug dealers? Are they moms and dads in, the pickup line? Or, there's no back alleys here to go to get drugs. Where are these kids getting these drugs? Why are they taking them into school? Where are the parents? Where are the teachers? Where are the resource officers who are in these schools who should be keeping an eye? Like, this is part of what they should be doing. And I'm not putting the blame on any one person, but there's so many people who are dropping the ball here, and we have dead kids. We have kids who have almost died. And this is something that is highly addictive. And even if they are overdosing and they're surviving, and thank God most of the children have survived here in our area, at least, they go back and do it again. And I was watching some documentaries, short ones, with parents who've had children who had overdosed 3 and 4 times on fentanyl pills, and then the 5th and 6th time they couldn't revive them. So it's like only a matter of time. Like these kids, once they do it one time, it's more addictive than heroin, or I think, is that the most addictive one, or meth? I don't know which one, but it's the most addictive drug.
Well, first of all, is fentanyl powerful synthetic opioid like morphine, but 50 to 100 times stronger. Yeah. Synthetic opioids are the most common drugs associated with overdose deaths in the U.S. Pharmaceutical fentanyl is prescribed and monitored by a physician. When fentanyl is taken as prescribed, it is highly effective for the treatment of severe pain due to trauma. That's bullshit. No, it's not.
Right.
Just get you addicted.
That's it.
Yeah.
Illicit fentanyl is manufactured in illegal labs where it's being mixed with other illegal drugs to increase the potency, which I called like a year and a half ago. And I said, they're going to start putting this stuff in marijuana. Watch. And guess what? I was right. I was absolutely freaking nailed it. And I've had viewers who are like, oh my God, you called this. They're going to start lacing marijuana with this, because legalizing marijuana, when you flatten the price of marijuana and all the marijuana is the same price, people are going to want an edge. Mm-hmm. And the way that you edge it is to get a better high. And there's only so much THC, and there's only so many hydroponics and so many, kind bud you can splice with other bud to make these Beavis and Butthead and Skunk Bud Extraordinaire Pepe Le Pew and these named brand designer marijuana drugs, is you're going to have to lace it to make it more effective. Go ahead, Ames.
Now there's the carfentanil. I don't know if you have heard of this one, and I want to say it's called Tang, and it's not Tang. Maybe it's Trank or something is the street name for it. But it's I think it's 100 times more potent than this pure fentanyl that we're getting from. It's made mostly in Mexico. Manufactured, I guess I should say it's not made. It's manufactured there. I guess some of it's coming from India as well, which I had no idea about that. And this carfentanil is mixed with animal tranquilizers, and I think people are injecting it, and it will melt your skin off like instantly. And
sounds fun.
It looks horrifying.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, I don't know. I learned a lot today.
I've also heard it collapses your arteries too. So use of heroin into the same vein ultimately will just collapse and destroy the arteries. And but this will do it in one shot. I mean, this stuff is highly toxic. I have a graphic up here. The DEA says this is what fentanyl lethal overdose looks like, and it's literally a few pinheads of this. Now, understand this: when I was taking opiates, if I took that, I wouldn't die. I'd probably get higher than hell, but I wouldn't die because my body is used to it. But that's the thing with opioids. It's not designed for step process. It's a gradual step process. Mm-hmm. So it's not like 1 week you're taking 10 milligrams and you're up to 100. You're going to die if you do that. It takes years of this stuff, but you're always chasing that first initial high, like all heroin, and you can never achieve it again. The first time you take a Vicodin, you will have diminishing returns for every narcotic you take that is opioid related until the dawn of time. And that is the danger. And, Mike and I have experience in this. Amy, go ahead.
Well, just to add to that, people are always chasing that high. And I think it was 8 overdoses in one particular school in Loudoun County. I think I had the number. I think it was 8 in one specific school. And I remember when I did the police training, they were telling all of us that, someone will hear about an overdose, and instead of not going back to that dealer will become the popular dealer in the area, because people will say like, oh, they have the strongest drugs, so they're going to have the best high. And so people will seek them out and then also overdose. And that's how we see these.
Yeah. Amy is so distraught. She stroked out.
Please.
See, she's back. She's let her brain catch up. She's so frustrated. Amy, don't fret. You can relax your face and come on back to us. Ames. Hello. Amy.
I wonder.
She's frozen.
Okay.
Here's a graphic. We'll wait for Amy to catch up. The death rate per 100,000 residents of drug overdose. Anything in white is 0. Anything in yellow is 5.6 to 9.9. Yeah, that aquamarine color is more of 10 to 17.5. Greenish blue is 17.5 to 30. Folks, these numbers are crazy. The dark aquamarine is 30 deaths to 54. And then the dark blue, which there are several, are 54.6 to get this 95 out of 100 per 100,000. Yeah. 100,000. So you can see up here in this area up north is where we are in Loudoun County. And we're in a 17.5 to 30.9 per 100,000 deaths. That is an incredible number.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. And we knew you were distraught.
Look on your face.
You needed to take a minute.
I needed so upset.
Amy, we're showing this graphic here of deaths per 100,000. And Virginia, even though Virginia is one of the most prominent and wealthy states in the union per capita, it has extremely high rates of fentanyl and opioid use, especially in Northern Virginia and Southern Virginia, as you can see here. But Loudoun County is right here. I mean, you can see it. It's dark blue. It's one of the highest, 54 to 96.4. And then it drops down to 17.5 to 30 deaths per 100,000. So this is an epidemic of pretty large proportion. And the fact that, we had to go through this when it came to the supposed banning of books, when they were showing graphic sexual novels to our kids, when they had the transvestite issues with raping the girls in the bathrooms and all this stuff we've been fighting the school districts. And now they're coming out with these emails. I'm going to have Olivia talk a little bit about the email, what it says. And they're already going down the denying track, right? They're not taking responsibility for this. So I'm going to hand over to Olivia, have her talk about it and educate the email that all parents got. We just got this email.
I just got it yesterday and I saw it at lunch. So we had a discussion yesterday at the table and we ate dinner.
Yeah.
So as of right now, so last year for the school year of 22 to 23, there were 4 overdoses out of all of LCPS. Now we're at 10 and we're just in the first quarter. And so there's been 10 suspected overdoses and it's across 6 high schools right now. So it's only in high schools, thank God, but it's going to get to the middle schools and hopefully never to the elementary schools, but at some point.
Yeah, we'll hear our daughter's starting high school here shortly.
Yeah. So what they say when they say an overdose, it's based on a definition that includes they receive medical treatment for suspected overdose that includes Narcan, medical transport, and or CPR. So, and out of the 10, 4 of the students received doses of, naloxone or whatever
Yeah,
it's called?
that's
Narcan.
I'll talk about that.
Yeah. So,
Narcan or naloxone.
Naloxone, yeah.
They're both essentially adrenaline based, and
Right.
they stop the poisoning process of it and allow people to kind of come out of it. And it's pretty standard, but the fact that this is the solution. It's not like, let's start having police in schools. Let's start shutting down the border. Let's start go ahead increasing drug sniffing dogs. No, it's like the same thing with gun control. Let's just put more legislation in place and that'll stop it because criminals go ahead and obey the law. It's just this is the problem. And our state is on the verge. There's Democrats running for everything, and they are dumping a shit ton of money in Virginia. Virginia has to be one of the highest, most expensive states that Democrats are going for because they want it back. Because most of the people who live here are from Washington, D.C., up north, and in these areas that are getting a lot of that D.C. mentality, the designer drugs that are not the crack and not the meth that's in D.C., but the blue collar, white collar, rich, uppity BMW people are the ones doing opioids, and they're coming from DC and they're bringing this shit into if there wasn't a demand for it, they wouldn't be bringing it here. Right. And these are the people who are trying to take over in Virginia. They want our guns. They want unfettered abortion, and they don't want their drugs messed with. It's insane. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Libby.
The scary thing is this was a really, really long email, but I guess in a recent DEA public health alert note, laboratory testing indicates that 7 out of every 10 pills seized by the DEA contain a lethal dose of fentanyl, which is just really scary. Now, the system is actually, our school district is actually taking a proactive thing. That's what I'm getting, because we got another email today. They are doing, this Saturday, they're actually doing a class where we can all go and discuss it.
Yeah, it's in Sterling.
And yeah, it's in Sterling, but still, they're actually offering it to us where we could go and they'll teach us, what are the signs, what are the symptoms, how to actually give the whatever it's called. I can't pronounce it.
Naloxone.
Yeah. So I guess all LCPS employees have been trained to administer the medication, as well as all of the resource officers. So they're trying to do something. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the problem is that you don't even have to do it. All you got to do is touch it, right? I mean,
Right.
a lot of this stuff is
inhale
absorbed
it.
through the skin, or inhale it, right?
Yeah, we did have a discussion. We did have a discussion with the kids, and we're like, I don't care if it's your best friend, you are not to take anything from anyone unless you buy it from the school cafeteria or it's in your lunchbox. You are not to take it. You're not to switch food, because I know Ethan, a lot of the times they'll trade back and forth in lunches. Somebody got a better lunch than him and they trade and stuff. So, and especially with the Halloween candy gets traded around. I'm like, you're not to take anything from anyone, no matter if it's your best friend or not. It's scary. And we've been talking to our kids about this for a while, so they understand and they know, but it's still scary.
Mike, your thoughts on this? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, quick question for you guys. 'Cause I know, like, when I went was in high school, probably 15 years ago now. Our town, I know it's not that long ago for you guys.
Oh,
It's your baby.
Jeez, man, that's so nice. When are you going to get your driver's license?
Multiple times a year, to where the police department would bring in the drug dogs, and we would never know when it's coming. And it happened at least 4 times a year, if not more, if they thought there was something around. Is Loudoun County actually bringing in dogs on a random basis to be like, hey, let's go check everybody? Of course, then you would know who got popped, because the principal would come in, they would pull a couple of kids out of class, and that they had drugs or something in their locker they weren't supposed to. Is Loudoun County doing something like that?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Let me answer it. So in this is what we can do. This is the plan, and I'm going to show you something that's going to piss off Amy and Olivia, because I did a little research myself, and I always love to kind of pop the balloon. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. But what we can do: talk to your children about the dangers of drugs and opioids. Educate them that any pill received from a friend or purchased online or on the street may be counterfeit. Reinforce that they should only take pills prescribed by a physician. If you have any concerns about your child, please reach out to the school. LCPS actions and resources. Here they are. Students learn about the dangers of drug and opioid use during health class. Student assistance specialists have expertise in mental health and substance use fields. As members of the United Mental Health Team at the secondary level, student assistance specialists provide educational presentations for students and parents. LCPS has a drug awareness webpage with resources that can help. That's it. That's their plan.
So no plan. Got it.
No plan. No, just a plan to fail.
It's reactive. There's
no
that's the problem with it's. I mean, Youngkin did sign an executive order, and I saw that because they were hiding this from the parents in Loudoun County as well.
Again. This isn't the first time. They do this all the time. And thank God for Youngkin, man. Thank God for this guy, because he's the only one who really cares. I mean, I got to give it to Youngkin. He's been open door about this, but he shouldn't have to sign an EO to get this done. Remember what happened when we were kids? If they would bring in acid and Beavis and Butthead or Red Fireman caps, mushrooms in Colorado, and there was acid in California. And what they did is they did this. They took anyone who had any illicit substance or paraphernalia, and they would take them to the Ventura County jail, and they would scare them straight. And they would have the most hardened convicts come out, and literally just destroy these kids verbally. Lock them in a cell. Let them experience this type of thing. If they brought drugs on campus, they would put their name in the paper, put their parents' name in the paper. I mean, they made this a mark of shame, a red letter A. Any kid was caught, they immediately went to drug counseling. We need, before even with school shootings, we need officer presence. We've got to get drug sniffing dogs in there. You've got to shut this stuff down at the source. Because ultimately, unless we turn into 1940 Germany, where we have borders along our states and checkpoints coming in, this stuff is going to continue until we classify this stuff as a poison, and it's murder one. If you sell or get caught with any distribution amount, and that's including a pinhead amount of fentanyl, if it's enough to kill a person, it's attempted murder. And then that person goes to jail for the rest of their fucking life. You want to go ahead and make this thing that serious? Put that label on that it's a poison like ricin. If you're caught in possession of ricin, it's attempted murder, period. It's an illicit, but they won't do it. And why won't they do it? That's the question. We should talk about it here tonight. I'm sorry I took over. This is a very passionate topic for me. I love my town. I love my city. I love my state, and I'm
Something
sick of it.
tells me government's making money off of it.
Well, I don't know. Let's not be Jesse Waters. Let's have that conversation. Amy,
curious.
go ahead. No, let's do it.
So, well, in Florida, at least I know, what is it, Polk County, they are pushing to have that legislation written that, I don't know if it will be murder one. It will definitely be, I think it's higher than manslaughter, but lower than, so I guess it's like murder two, something like that. They were trying to push for that legislation to be written. I know they are really out to get these people in Florida. I really hope that they do this here. My kids are still a little bit young, but from doing the research that I did just today, I mean, I spent a few hours looking. There's been kids as young as my oldest child who have overdosed on this medication or on this drug, or poison, whatever, not medication. And I think, not to be like, oh, it goes back to all the drug companies, but they are the ones who really started this. Fentanyl does have a place in the medical community, but usually you get it as like a patch, from what I understand, and it's for severe pain, severe surgeries, or people who have cancer that's terminal, things that it's palliative type of care, not something that you use to get high. It's something to keep these people comfortable so they can live out, the end of days or get over this trauma that they've lived through. I've never had to take it that I'm aware of. And I've had, one traumatic surgery in my life, and I took 2 Percocets, I think. And I was like, no, I don't like the way I feel. Personally, so I've never been a drug person. I have smoked pot, but I've never done anything else. And it's just not for me. And I hope that I can teach my kids to stay away from this stuff, but they're going to be older. They're going to be with their friends. They're so impressionable. The parents can only do so much. This should not be accessible to our children in any regard
It
whatsoever.
shouldn't be on the parents. It's not on the parents.
Well,
they're getting this stuff at school. It can't be on the parents, because all of these cases, it was picked up at school.
Correct.
So even if you educate your child, if they take a candy or something that's laced from a friend, I don't care how well you prepare that child. I don't care how well you educate that child. Accidents happen, By the way, it does need to be murder one. It has to be attempted murder one. You can't, if you do a murder two, it drops down to a class 4 felony. It's 2 to 10 years in prison with a $20,000 fine. Murder one is 20 years in prison with a $100,000 fine. If you distribute this stuff, you know the numbers. You know that it can kill, and it's killing people. 97,000 people in 2020 were dead from this stuff. So if you know, then how is that not attempted murder? Just like if you had AIDS, there was a lady that went around and slept with men. She had AIDS, and she got hit with first-degree attempted murder on every single case because she knew the outcome, and her rest of her pitiful life and existence, while dwindling away, was spent in prison. You have to change the rules, and you can't allow this to continue. It's the only way to get it to stop.
Well, let me ask you this question really quickly, because I know we put sanctions on China but I didn't dig too much into that, so I'm not really sure what all the sanctions were. That was about a month ago from my understanding, and they can manufacture a ton of this fentanyl in a quick amount of time. So I feel like in a month's time, we've actually seen an increase, especially in our area in particular, in fentanyl overdoses. So where are these sanctions? What's happening? Because clearly this is not stopping. They're the ones that are providing the majority of the materials to make this poison.
Yeah. Yep.
And what's happening? Like, why are we not stepping up and holding their feet to the fire?
Mike,
So they
do you
can
want to answer that question? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Mike.
they can do all the sanctions they want. All China has to do is ship it to South America or Mexico, and it walks across the border just because that's how everything else gets in. So you can do whatever you want to China. We have a very accessible, easy way to bring everything in. And until that changes, none of this is going to change.
And not just
one
that.
thing I did
go ahead,
add
Mike,
on
sorry.
that, slightly off topic, but I know for the VA and the military, every time we have surgeries and we are given narcotics because of that, it is required that we get the oh crap, now I'm going to forget the name. For the overdose.
Narcan.
Yeah. So we're required to get Narcan when we get those now because they know these overdoses are so prevalent. So obviously, like, that's going to translate down into the schools and anyone else who's taken this. That, I don't know, Amy was saying before of fentanyl, because I know when I was in the hospital, I was on fentanyl, methadone, Dilaudid, and Oxy all at the same time.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So when you're talking about once you get that initial high, you're never going to get that back. And I know, at least in my case, I've got about a 6-week period that I have zero recollection of because I was so high. Like, I don't remember it. And the only reason I know that is because I have photos of people that I met that I do not remember meeting them. And they're one of them, at least one of them was one of my idols. So it's like, I wish I could remember that.
Why are doctors prescribing this when it's so addictive and having to give a drug that if you have a possible overdose, they have to give it to you? Why would doctors do that?
So pain management is a constant. And Amy, Amy, you go ahead. I'll chime in a sec.
No, I was just saying it's money. It's all money. They are paid to prescribe this medication. That's why they were, I don't know what the last lawsuit was, but they're suing doctors right and left and the doctors are now having their own lawsuits against the drug companies because drug companies are paying them. But it's not a payment for prescribing their drugs. They pay them, for something else, or doing a presentation, or writing a good, writing a letter of recommendation for this drug and why it helped their patients, so they can convince other doctors to push this drug onto those people. And they're not paying these doctors, $1,000. They're giving them a freaking yacht for $500,000. They're sending them on a vacation to Bora Bora for a month, and then paying for them to do all. It's not little things. These drug companies are spending billions of dollars on doctors because they're making 4 times that in the revenue they prescribe from the drugs.
So that's absolutely correct. There's also something else we need to understand. Is you can look through when you have a situation where easy becomes the standard, you take the easy way out. And take a look at the American Revolution. If you take a look at the overall amputations from the American Revolution and compare it to the Civil War, there was almost a 60% increase in amputations in the Civil War versus the American Revolution. But how many years are we talking about separated between the two? Shouldn't there have been advancements in medicine over 4 to 5 decades? Should there have been, better tools, better, maybe not antibiotics that we understand, but at least soap and hygiene, and some sort of, ether acetate or whatever it would be to put people into an unconscious state. And I understand these field hospitals were difficult, but what happened was it wasn't that the advancements weren't there. It wasn't that that some of these things weren't readily available for these Union and Southern soldiers and Confederate soldiers. It was the fact that doctors became habitual on the easy way out, which was to give them a few shots of whiskey and saw their legs off. And unfortunately, that's the truth. And when you are in a situation where you take the easy way out, this is the result you get. Now, doctors, particularly pain management specialists, a lot of these people have orthopedic backgrounds. They have the ability to set bones. They have the ability to perform minor surgeries. They're not a neurologist. But the neurologist doesn't get seen until you have to get surgery. They take you to a pain management specialist and they continue to step you up on this stuff instead of doing what's needed, which might be a fusion or might be a spinal cord stimulator or might be a rotary cuff surgery or whatever it is. And they put you on this medication to try to Band-Aid the problem. Most of these doctors, the first thing they do is they inject you full of steroids. And you go through a series of 5, 6, 7, 10 injections into these areas, which it doesn't do any good. Everyone knows from college football and high school football that if you have a cartilage issue in a knee or you have a disc displacement in the back, that continued exposure to that by injecting it in anti-inflammatories, it isn't going to solve the problem. It just Band-Aids the issue. Doctors don't want to do the rehab. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to invest the time and money. So they use these pain management specialists, and unfortunately, it's chronic. It would have been lovely if a doctor went up to me and said, "You have to get off this medicine. You are the problem. Your lack of energy and exercise and diet and care for your body is the problem, and no amount of surgery is going to fix you. You have a motivation problem," and it would have been. Certainly would have pissed me off, but I'm telling you right now, man, drugs are not the answer. All it's doing is delaying the inevitable. It's putting you on a path of spiraling out of control. And these Heath Ledger cocktails that Mike and I were on, the only thing I wasn't on was fentanyl. I was on Dilaudid. I was on Oxy, slow release, 300 milligrams of frickin' OxyContin, 300 milligrams of OxyContin. I think that's not even what I was taking for a hydrocodone. And I was taking 420 milligrams of hydrocodone. I was almost at 1,000 milligrams of Oxy and Hydro every single day. And then they started giving me Valium, and then they started trying to give me Ambien for sleep. And I was like, that's the Heath Ledger cocktail right there. That means 24 hours a day, I would have been completely bombed out of my mind. And I know if I wouldn't have woken up, I would be dead. Livia, what else we got about LCPS?
That's it. I just got another email today going into more detail about the meeting tomorrow. So, but.
The meeting, I thought about going. It's the sheriff, and they're going to do an education. We don't need an education. You don't need to educate the parents. You need to educate the children, and you need to ensure that if this stuff comes in and it's a kid, that kid's tried as an adult. You need to send a very clear message to this. I'm sorry, the law is the only thing that's going to stop this, and it has to be severe, and it has to be quick. Amy, last comment on this?
No, I absolutely agree, and I will even take it one step further. And if they're getting these pills or whatever form they're getting it in, if it's coming from their parents, they need to be tried as well. I just can't understand why anyone would put this in the child's hands for any reason. It's beyond my comprehension. My children are my world. I'm pretty familiar with almost all the kids in my children's school because it's a small school, and I would do anything for any of those children. And I can't imagine someone out there wanting to harm one of my kids, someone else's child. Like, these kids are precious. They're all we have. They are facing enough craziness in our world right now. Like, can we just try to keep them alive with all the other shit, excuse my language, that they have to go through? Like, this is, final straw for me. Like, I'm over it. I will do anything I have to protect my kids from this crap. Like, this is
it's dangerous.
Absolutely terrifying.
Mike, did you have anything else you wanted to chime in on in regards to this?
No, I just one of those that, yes, there needs to be a heavy hand coming down on this. I just have zero faith in Loudoun County that they're actually going to do it based off of what the prosecutors and everyone's already done. Yes, maybe the sheriff is going to try to do some education, but until they actually do some legitimate steps to help get this in the correct direction, like, I have zero faith that anything's going to happen. So it's going to be up to you guys to actually do something.
I thought about going down to it and raising hell. but it's not an open forum. It's not a conversation. It's not a debate. But I'll tell you what, Mike, you and I showing up to that thing and specifically talking about our experience and what we went through, it may do some good, because I think parents need to understand this doesn't start with people shooting heroin or speedballs or 7-foot graphics bongs. It starts with kiping a Vicodin from mom and dad's closet, or getting a narco, or, getting barbiturates and other types of Fioricet and Darvocet and, Ambien and all these other types of drugs. And the issue really, which is these anti-anxiety medications, is people can't cope with their own shit. And everyone goes and gets these, diazepams or lorazepams or whatever the hell they're called, and all these anti-anxiety medications. And these are these designer pharmaceutical drugs that 2 out of 3 people have been addicted to opiates, and they don't even know. 2 out of 3 people in the United States have been addicted to opioids and did not know. They took Vicodin for 7 days, and they had addictive properties. I remember one time when I quit smoking, and it was my first time, and I was on medication for like 6 months, and I just quit it cold turkey. I stopped, and I ran out, and I had horrible flu-like symptoms. I lost like 15 pounds, and I went to the doctor, and we took me in there, and he ran a blood test and everything else. And I said, well, I quit smoking. And he looks at me and he's like, oh, quit smoking, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I quit smoking, and that's why I'm sick. And he's like, mm-hmm. And I always thought, I was like, when we went back in the car, I'm like, that guy was a complete dick. Why? I mean, geez, dude, I just quit smoking. You think he would have congratulated me? Well, he obviously recognized the signs of withdrawal and thought I was just being an ass, and I was trying to cop medicine. And I wasn't. I went in because I had literally was on the toilet for like 7 days, man. And I dropped so much weight. I was dehydrated, and it was because I was going through withdrawals. And I recognized that years later when I went through my withdrawal symptoms. But most people don't know. They think they have the flu, and it's not the flu. You have withdrawals. If you've been taking any amount of opioids for 7 days, your body is now habitual. And that's what people don't seem to understand. So it doesn't start with, freebasing cocaine and, lighting your hair on fire like Thelma and Louise. It starts with your medicine cabinet, and you have to have that shit on lockdown, because that's where I started it when I was younger. My mom's medicine cabinet.
Yeah, and a couple of things I'll add to that, because I know exactly what you're talking about, because I didn't know that I was addicted to it until now, looking back on it. When I was on the Dilaudid, and I was on it for probably 4 months until I actually got off of it. But I had a little notepad that I kept with me, and I wrote down the exact time that I could get it, because I was so used to it that I had to get it immediately just to feel anything. And now it's one of those, looking back, like I was in the hospital with a bunch of times written down, and the nurses and doctors knew this, and I was hitting my pen every single time I could get it. Maybe that should have been a clue that it's like, hey, he's really addicted to this. Maybe it's not helping. We need to get him off of this.
Yeah, and they don't.
No, unless you physically ask them, like, I need to get up. Because the one night that I actually had the withdrawals because I didn't get the medications, it was after that event that I'm like, I need to get off this crap. And it took at least 2.5 months to get off of it properly, because I was at such high levels. I know one other thing. I was on a veterans hunt. There was a veteran that showed up who ran out of all of his pills, and it was amazing to see where he was so down he could barely walk, had to walk with a cane. He was having shivers. Then the second he got that pill, 6 hours, like he took it, a couple hours later, he could walk around, talk normal. It is amazing how quick it is once you get back on and those symptoms go away. It's like, that should have been a clue that you need help and you need to get off of this, but no one's willing to do it. And of course the VA are just like, oh yeah, here's some more pills, keep going.
Yeah, It's funny. Someone just mentioned I was 2 weeks in the hospital with COVID and left with a script of 270 T3s. I could have taken, during the height, 100 T3s. 100 of them with hardly any effect. That is how potent the stuff that I was on. Now, you start with T3s with a low level of codeine, then it moves to like Vicodin, Then you move to narco, which is like 10 milligrams. Then you move to Lortab, which is up in the 20-25s. And then once you eat those like freaking like jelly bellies, then they start moving you into hydro.
What are T3s?
T3s
I was
are
going to say, I don't need.
Tylenol with codeine,
Oh, okay.
essentially, just like
Got
cough
it.
syrup, low level shit. And then you're taking hydro. And then once you're up to 150, 200 milligrams a day of hydro, it doesn't work anymore because you're going to blow your fucking heart out. So they start you on oxy and slow release oxy with the Lortab. So when you have those lows, I was taking a 20 to 30 milligrams of hydro every 45 minutes. Every 45 minutes. No, when I first took one, it lasted me 6 to 8 hours, and I was just like, zing, I was done. At the end, every 45 minutes, I would come up for 15, and I'd be like, 15 minutes in, I'd be like, okay, I feel it. 5-minute feeling a little euphoria, and then 15 minutes down, and then I'm popping another one. And it got to the point where I couldn't chase it anymore. And I'm not kidding. I was really this close to considering heroin. It was that bad. I was so, and these are pharmaceutical drugs. It started with a VA. This all started with a VA because I couldn't survive. I mean, I was always an early riser. Like Mike knows, I'm up late. We both are, and so my wife knows. But I would stay in bed till 10:30 because I only had 12 pills to get me through to the night. Otherwise, I would withdraw in the middle of the day. It's horrible. And once you get there, you can't stop until you make that change and just say, I've had enough. I'm going to die. So listen, I know we have a lot of people here who've lost family members recently. This topic's a tough one, but it needs to be talked about. This is our hometown. This is Virginia. This is real. Yeah. And the media is going to say, and the Democrats are going to be like, we're lying. We're not being honest. This is just more Republican talking points about the border. Fuck you people. You know, you said that shit when it came to the transgenders in the bathrooms, and then the little girl was raped, and then the gender identity and the transitioning that took place, you said that was lies. And then you also said a few other things when it came to CRT and also focusing on racism against Asian Americans and white people when it came to scholarships and national scholarships. You guys have pretended that this shit isn't real, and it's real. And I'm so sick and tired of hearing Democrats go, oh, this is all Republican talking points. You know what? Come to my town and come to some of these things and listen to these emails that we're getting. And the last thing I want to say about this, and I'm going to put this to bed, is that they're talking in this email. Are they, when you guys read this, are they talking about it like this is an ongoing issue? Or is this like, this is up and coming, this is big, and we need to address it? Which one do you think?
No. To me, it sounded like, hey, we had a blip in the radar. We're going to talk to your kids in health class. Okay. You should talk to them at home and go to this class.
Yeah.
But
okay, here you go.
Yeah.
Then look at this. This is from November 2022. All these documents that I've been pulling up in here, this is actually from Loudoun County and the schools saying the same shit in 2022, talking about education. That's why I want to go there tomorrow and say, you guys already put a PDF out here where you talk about how 56,000 people have died in 2020. And then it literally went to 100,000 people, 92,000 people. And now we're at a higher clip than that. You've already asked for this. What are you doing? You have a document that's anniversary that I found. And I went through because this sounded so familiar. And I found an article that this exact same shit was talked about last year, and it's worse than it was. So if it's worse, then your shit didn't work. And if it didn't work, then why are we going to go ahead and accept this again? And that's why I want to go down there tomorrow and say, enough of this. It's worse than it was. We've already done this. Now it's time to talk about next. But there's nobody who's going to do that. Nobody's going to stand up. Those parents are going to go in there and go, it's not my kid, woe is me, and move on and not address the problem. But this is now the second year in a row they've done this.
I think, well, they actually do it all the time. I think the sheriff's department does a class. I want to say it's every 3 months. It could be every 4 months. They space them out every couple months. They do them. And it's not, and I'm not saying the sheriff's department's not at fault at all, but they do what they're allowed to. They have been handcuffed, for lack of a better term, so to speak. The Commonwealth, like you said, Mike, it's horrible. They don't prosecute anybody for any reason here unless, oh, don't get me started. Unless if you're an actual good person, you'll get prosecuted to the fullest extent. But if you're a repeat offender here, you get to walk free constantly. They don't give two craps. The Commonwealth is a bunch of loser cowards, and I will go on the record with that. Sorry.
I'm not talking about the sheriff's department. I'm talking about the school sent out. This email is a dodge. This email is them deflecting and putting it on the sheriff's office to educate. Because even in their one line, to date the school year, our records indicate LCPS has had 10 suspected overdoses. Of course, this isn't just a school issue. This is a local, state, and national issue. You're passing the buck. I don't give a shit what's going on nationwide. I don't care what's going on in other states. I don't care what's going on in other counties. This is my county. These are my schools. I care because my kids are there. Otherwise, I don't care. Sorry. I don't have time to care. I got to care about my family, my kids. That's who I protect. And I feel very sorry. You got your own kids. You go take care of them. I want to know what they're doing about it that is not just reactive, but proactive. I want to hear the safety measures that are going in place. I want to hear about school metal detectors. I want to hear about having onboard security. I want to hear about having drug sweeps by canine sniffing dogs who sniff drugs every single week going to that campus. Whatever it takes to ensure that there is a military style presence at these schools to let these kids know you're not going to fucking get away with it. And I'm sorry, that's the only thing that stopped it in California. And yes, they had chain link fences. Yes, they had armed security guards. And people are like, well, we don't want it to feel like a prison. You know what? I don't want it to feel like a morgue.
Right.
I agree with you. I don't want my school feeling like a prison, but a morgue is worse. Come on.
A couple of things I'll add to that. When you said that, oh, it's not going to be my kid. I immediately thought of 3 kids from my high school. 2 of them died from overdoses. One of them I'll get into in a second, but every one of them, and at the time, my dad was also one of the security guards at the high school. He was a retired detective and then moved to that. So that was really fun having my dad at the high school. But he had multiple parents that he went to and said, hey, your kids are bringing drugs to school, like they're doing these drugs. And both sets of those parents said, no, that's not our kid. Our kid would never do this. And now both of them died from overdoses. Yeah. And a third one, he was actually one of the drug dealers for the high school. And the same thing, his father is like, you know what, that's not my son. He wouldn't do that. I raised him better than that. And it ended up, they had a triangle with another dealer, and they ended up killing him. So he ended up getting first-degree murder, and now he's in prison for the rest of his life. And after that father actually went back to my dad and said, you know what, you came, I didn't listen, and this is where my son's at. Yeah. So this one of those, there's a lot of people who need to be involved in this, but I would just hope that parents would be like, you know what, it's not my kid, because guess what, this is as simple as someone giving them a piece of candy, or there's a flake on a piece of paper that someone got that they touched on their skin and got into a cut, and that's how they got started. So I would hope that people wouldn't be like, oh, it's not my kid. It's like, well, take a hard look, because there's a lot of things in my life I didn't think I would do and end up doing them anyway. So it can be anyone's kid, anyone time. It doesn't matter where you're at on the social status or where you come from. Anyone can get this, and it can be completely by accident. So just take a hard look, and obviously you need to stand up, you need to be loud, you need to make sure that people are doing the right thing, because obviously they're going to take the easy way out and pass the buck down the road till it's somebody else's problem.
I think it's a good stop. Ladies, thanks for walking us through it and I know there's a lot of opinion on this type of stuff. I think Mike and I have personal experience with it, so it's hard for us because we know how serious and how quickly this stuff can turn. But yeah, like I said, to me, it just seems like the same old stuff. Let's hope the problem goes away, and let's wait for the federal government to take care of it. And to me, every single one of these people in this school board should be gone. That's my opinion. Want to show this video? We got to move on because if we don't, we'll be out of time. This did anyone have a chance to listen to Hassan Nasrallah? And he is the Hezbollah leader, and some of the things he had to say. Okay, well, oh shoot, looks like somebody's covered there. Here, let me.
That's okay.
It's not okay. Why would it? Of course, it's not okay. Hold on, let me get you in there, Amy. Here, we'll put you right here. We'll make a little geo pattern. So this is the Hezbollah leader, and he is obviously addressing Lebanon's involvement in the Israeli conflict with Hamas and Gaza Strip. Now, I've also got some news for you that the West Bank is now becoming hot and active as predicted, obviously with the help of Syria along its back border. And that it creates a very interesting problem where you're seeing proxies from Iran working in West Bank and firing more rockets into Israel. So now you have a possibility of West Bank, Gaza, Syria, Lebanon, with Iran running proxy against Israel. And that is no good. So we're looking for a very even-keeled tone from this gentleman with a high level of power of positivity and kindness. And let's see what we got. Here we go.
Yes.
Oh, whoops. Hold on. Let me flip the audio. Let's all cross our fingers because I believe in the power of positive thinking. Praise Allah.
All possibilities on the Lebanese front are open.
Oh.
We are ready for any possibility.
Oh.
The resistance missions and the blood of those martyred tell the enemy thinking of attacking Lebanon or thinking of doing a preemptive strike against Lebanon that you will be making the most stupid mistake in the history of your existence.
We've made worse.
So, shit, that doesn't sound too good, does it? I was hoping for better. But let's give a listen to what the IDF did. And we talked about that proverbial slap across the face with the purple-headed yogurt slinger. Let's see what the IDF... This is the greatest response in the history of war. Talk about provoking the enemy. Listen to this shit.
Thank you for your question. We listened to Hassan Nasrallah's long and rambling speech. I admit it was so boring, I don't know whether his speechwriter was killed in recent IDF strikes on Hezbollah up in the north. I would note that despite the large crowds, Mr. Nasrallah himself was not on stage. He was hiding in a bunker like a coward. And if I were giving a long, hour-long speech defending the pedophile rapists of Hamas, I would be afraid to show my face in public as well.
That is... Bravo.
Dude, epic troll level. Like level 10 troll. He just trolled an entire country. I mean, that guy, do you know what they said after that? Son of a bitch, we just lost the war in public affairs. You know? I mean, the quote of public opinion is in and we're foobarred.
The only thing better is when he gave that response, if they would have hit a bunker buster where he was at, feeling that would have been the ultimate slap in the face.
So, ladies, when you look at that, and there's a reason why the guys are on top tonight. It doesn't matter, but we're trying. This seems to be the way that the show's going. Is that you've got an opinion up here and you got a different opinion down here. Let's see if we have the same opinion. Does that make you nervous when Israel does that? I mean, because wars have been started for less than what he said. Does it bother you that Israel is so arrogant? Does it bother you that they are so comfortable with death? And I tried to explain this to people that they don't care. They have no remorse. Does this bother you at all, either of you?
No, they've been through so much that people have been trying to kill them for how many years that they just don't give a shit. They're not going to put up with it. So it doesn't bother me at all. They have a right to defend themselves.
Amy, how about you?
I absolutely agree. I think it's hilarious. And yes, after you have been through everything that Israel has gone through, you're allowed to make jokes. Sorry, like you can, like, who cares? What's the worst that can happen at this point? I mean, they've been fired on by so many different countries. They keep being threatened. Like, I think they're just kind of like, yeah, well, if you're like, now's the time. Come on. Like,
Yeah.
shut up or sit down or sit, whatever it is. I don't know.
Sit down and shut up.
Thank you.
Let's see if Mike and I agree. Let's see if Mike, because I think you think that Mike and I were on the side of, oh, this is great. And the ladies, because we may have a different opinion. Michael, what do you think?
So me, one of those, like, I love the response to it, but I kind of feel like that the IDF is brushing this off as a normal, like, this is what they're going to do. This is their little, like, hey, we're going to puff out our chest and see if there's any kind of response. So guess what? IDF really does not want they don't want a 2-front war, because that's not good. If you do a 3rd front war or a 3-front war, that's gonna require the U.S. to come in. So that's not something that they want. But again, it's one of those, all Hezbollah is doing right now is trying to puff their chest and see what happens. That it's not really going to do anything. I don't think it's going to change anything. It's going to be once actions are actually taken that it's going to actually change the trajectory of the war right now. So again, it's just one of those, it's a measuring contest right now, and we're going to see who wants to swing first.
Amy, it's put up or shut up. Sorry, I don't know why I said sit down and shut up, but put up or shut up, I think is what you were striving for. Yes. And I just reflected. I'm like, I think that's okay. So I'm with Mike. I'm with Mike on this, and surprisingly enough, I think it's hilarious. I think it's great in a frat room. I think it's great in a interstate rivalry sporting event. You know, I don't think it's great for international relations because, listen, the Jews on the court of public opinion right now are in the minority. You're surrounded by Muslim countries who all hate you. You have got liberals in the United States waiting for something to be real. You saw the media, what they did on the hospital thing. They're waiting for Israel to screw up and really blow up refugees or really blow up a hospital or really kill kids on, in a blatant strike that should have gone another way, or something would have happened, or possibly IDF forces getting filmed taking out civilians. They're waiting for something like this so they can say, see, we told you so. Jews are bad. The best thing that the Jews can do is show a united front with their allies, do humanitarian concessions like they did today. They let in 30 trucks and they didn't let in any fuel. Why? Well, because the fuel is going to be used to fuel the rockets, and the rockets will continue. They'll use it on their generators to keep the airflow in those tunnels. I don't know if you've ever been in a tunnel in a desert, but let me explain to you. It's not necessarily cool at any time of the year. So my opinion is be firm, be strong, be decisive, but be affable and level-headed. Don't be so glib on the national stage, because that's not going to help you. And I think it's a mistake. I really do. I think it's better when Israel is like, this is how many people we took out today. This is why we did it. Hamas will not survive this, and long live Israel. That's a wonderful statement. But when you start getting into this, we should have killed this guy, and I don't know if we just murdered your family or something, but you don't really want to egg Lebanon on when they have 300,000 rockets that could make your life a living frickin' hell. And this could go dollars to donuts the wrong way real quick. And I would ask, not that they would listen to me, Israel, to tread carefully. But I don't know. Anybody else want to have an opinion on this one?
I'll just, from my gut from the beginning, I'll just say, like, I feel like this is always going to, and this is, again, off of no intelligence like you guys. This is my gut as a mom and a person who lives near DC, and that's it. I've always thought this is going to escalate. I do not see this ending anytime soon. I think it's going to be a long, drawn-out process, and I think there's going to be different people pulled in at different times. And again, it's based off of nothing, just my gut feeling.
Oh, it's 3,000 years of history in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
That's if staying out of conflict was their MO, then it wouldn't be the Middle East. It would be Sweden.
Yeah.
It's the Middle East. All right. I expected that one to go a little hotter. Mike, are you sure you have nothing else to add to that? No? Okay.
No, they're going to do what they're going to do. Everything's
Yeah.
on social media now, so they got to pander to the right people, or they want to pop off so they can look a certain way. It's like that's how it goes now. Now, yes, I am one of those. The calm, cool, and collected is always the best way to go. But you get enough young people coming up, especially if they're on the media and the propaganda side, they're going to pop off like this because that's what they know, that's what they've seen on everything. So that's how it's going to go. I don't think it's going to change.
I just think it validates Hezbollah, and you give them credence, and don't say these. If they are not a bunch of terrorists, evil, unorganized heathens, then don't give them the time of day to treat them like they can get into your head. Okay? Especially when you're a defense minister or you're a general. You don't want instability from the guy who has his finger on the chicken switch. Okay? You want that guy to be like lockstep. The one thing about Donald Trump, North Korea's not my friend, they're not my enemy. I'm starting over. But if they get froggy, I will blow them into the Stone Age and I will nuke the shit out of them. That was pretty decisive. Donald Trump was all about, I'm going to be this way, but if it goes the other way, this is what I'll do. Israel needs to stick to that plan. Hezbollah, we encourage them not to get involved in this. This is not their conflict. If they do, they will see the full might of Israel. And we encourage them to not do anything out of the ordinary. We got a phone call. I'm going to try to take it. Caller, Where are you calling from? Oh, Lakeside, Montana. What's your name? Paul. Oh, Paul, you've called before. Paul, what do you want to talk about?
I can't hear them.
Yeah, man, I can't hear him.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Hold on, Paul. They can't hear you. We're going to try to get you in. Hold on. Got to figure out what we did last time. Hold on. Okay, audio. Can everybody hear him on the show? Please let me know. No, yeah, they've already heard you. Hold on, Bubba. You guys let me know if you can hear him.
Susie says we can't hear the caller.
Okay. All right, Paul, say it again.
Nothing.
Okay. All right, let's try it one more time. Go ahead, man. You guys hear him?
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
Hold on one second, man. Paul, this might not work. We had this working. I don't know what happened.
Did have it working.
Of course we did, because it was working so well. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Is it right here? No, it's fine. It's fine. I want to get you in here, man, so hold tight. Let's see. Broadcast system. And then... All right, try it one more time, brother.
Nope.
Does anybody have him? No?
Nope.
Brother, we might have to wave off, or you can ask your question, and I will try to get it to everybody. Let me just try one more thing. Let's see. Darn it. I was really hoping. All right, just give me one more here, man. Can you just say the word hi? Say it one more time. Just say hello.
Hello? Check.
There you
Can
go.
you hear me now?
Okay,
Got it
you guys
now.
got him? Okay.
Yep.
Yep, we got him.
Now, can you hear the hosts? Paul?
Yep, I can.
Okay, now,
I
can they hear him?
Two female voices. I haven't heard Mike.
Okay, can everyone hear
got crayons?
him in chat?
Yes.
There we go.
There we
All
go.
right. All right, Paul, you're good to go, man. Go ahead, fire away. Everyone can hear everybody.
Damn, you're brilliant, Mike.
It's,
Or Matt, sorry.
it's whatever. It's okay, Pedro. Go ahead. What do you got?
I was just kind of wanting to get your take on, and Mike's too. I don't know. I've been kind of thinking that Israel is trying to drag us into this. They've hit targets in Syria. They've hit targets in Lebanon, right across their borders. They get this whole thing where, what's his name today, was not deterred. His fighters are not deterred by U.S. warnings not to get involved, and this, that, and the other thing. You have the whole, hospital thing. You have the refugee camp that they've hit twice. I heard a story today that they hit an ambulance somewhere that was being used by Hamas, or that was their reason for hitting it. And like you guys said, they're losing their credibility on the world stage daily or by the bomb.
Well, I don't think that's what I said. I don't think that's what I said, but I said it's okay.
Well,
I'll go ahead and finish. Go ahead and
paraphrase.
finish.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like to be paraphrased. I like to be quoted. But go ahead.
I apologize.
Go ahead.
But do you see them continuing this sort of thing to drag Hezbollah into this? Because, like you've mentioned before, if Hezbollah goes, we go.
So I think there's
every country around them. I mean, the Iron Dome was put there for a reason. It wasn't put in Gaza. It wasn't put in Lebanon. It was put in Israel because every single country around them wants to kill them.
Right.
So
I don't know if it's every single country, but every single
escalating. Do you
Paul,
see
I don't
them
know if it's every.
this?
Can you not hear me? Paul, I don't think it's every single
I'm
country. I don't think it's every single country. I want to change that. I think it's every single terrorist organization that considers them a terrorist state. Because a lot of Arab countries have recognized that Israel belongs to the Jews. Most Arabs don't like the Palestinians. That's why they won't take them in, because there is no such thing as a state of Palestine, and Arabs know this. It's an amalgamation of people who have left their country, whether the gypsies, nomads, Turkish, former Czechoslovakia, Morocco, Jordan, Yemen. It's an amalgamation of people that settled on a land when the Romans exfilled the Jews. And they're not loved. Neither are loved. But most Arabs will say that that's Israel's land. And the thing is that a lot of Arabs believe that they should have that land, and Mecca is theirs, and it's a holy land, and this conflict is between them and Israel, and they don't necessarily support the terrorist states. Not all of them. Some of them very much do. Iran does for sure. Syria does for sure. I think Egypt pretends very well. I think Qatar and United Arab Emirates pretend very well, but I would be careful saying that all Arab countries want to see Israel fall. I don't believe that's the case. I believe terrorist states do. Mike, did you want to chime in on that? And then we'll get into the rest.
Yeah, just for the first part where you're asking. So was the first question is Israel trying to drag the U.S. into the war? I just want to make sure I got that right.
Yeah, that was his first.
Or your opinion on that, because I'm kind of, I don't know. I see it. I was in Desert Storm, and I just, I don't know.
So,
I see Israel continuing to do what they do with the refugee camps and the ambulances and things like that, and then Lebanon's going to jump off. So then we're going to jump off.
Okay, Paul, I think we got your question.
Off.
I think we got your question. Go ahead, Mike.
So a few things on this. Is Israel trying to drag the U.S. into the war? That's kind of a broad question to where, are they asking for U.S. troops to come in on the ground? That answer is going to be no. Israel is very prideful. They are very capable to where they pride themselves on doing everything themselves. Now, for munitions, for money, for that type of stuff, yes, that's where the U.S. is going to come in with the big brother and be like, we can help you with these things. Obviously, we will come in with more air defense, more air support. So in that sense, yes, but not in the let's get U.S. boots on the grounds to fight alongside us. That is going to be that's going to be, if there is a three-front war, that's when that type of possibility is happening. But even that is a very distant possibility. Now, when you're talking, is Israel going to continue to target refugee camps and these ambulances? So they're not targeting the refugee camp. They're targeting the tunnels that Hamas built underneath the camps. And if Hamas is using ambulances as a either command and control, like the Russians are doing the same thing. They're using a school or they're using a hospital because they know they're not valid military targets under NATO and the Geneva Convention. That'll get the world populace on their side. But it's one of those, if they're using it for a valid military purpose, it is now a valid target. Now, obviously, there's some stuff on U.S. standards that are not going to be on that. But for Israel, if they're using it, they know it's there, and Israel has amazing intelligence, both human and technical, before they hit things, along with their pre-warnings that they're doing for certain areas. And if the civilians are not going to leave, you were warned. That's an unfortunate thing for war, that if you're not going to leave and bombs start dropping, you have that possibility. So yeah, Israel is not going to change what they're doing. They've trained for this. They know what they're doing, and it's not going to stop until the last Hamas fighter is gone. Matt, you got anything else for that?
Right.
Yeah, I do. I've got a couple things. One is Israel does not want us on the ground. And I take umbrage with it. They don't want us in the air. They don't want us in the ports. That we are there for air. No, well, I think you're wrong. Well, then why are you asking me?
I wanted your opinion.
Well, then allow me to give.
They're trying to.
It doesn't sound like you want my opinion. It sounds like you want to go ahead and chime in over what I'm saying. So I'll answer it, but you got to let me finish. Cool?
Please.
Okay, cool. So if you want my opinion, I'll give it. If you just want to tell me what you think, then I've heard what you think. And I would warn you that your language you're kind of burying the lead here, man. I think you think Israel is trying to do these things, and you're trying to convince us. And that is a dangerous thing. It doesn't look like you're looking for an answer. It seems like you want us to agree with you, and I don't. I vehemently disagree. When you say hospitals, Israel hasn't bombed a hospital.
Right. Nope.
So your language is wrong because you're not saying the truth. And when you say we targeted an ambulance, that's not what happened. An ambulance encroached upon a checkpoint, and they had a high velocity, high round, high caliber machine gun nest point at that, and then had a separate IDF vehicle block its entry. Because Mike and I will both tell you that this isn't the movies where somebody comes in a Toyota truck and we pull out a couple of M4s and start pulling the trigger, and then that truck stops. I've seen a Toyota or an old Nissan or an Isuzu fully mounted high caliber machine gun on top of that thing. I've also seen one loaded with explosives with 50 cals just destroying that thing. And that vehicle still hitting, still hitting the front gate. And as you've been in the Middle East, you know.
Yeah.
So you don't let anything within you don't let anything within your sector. You don't let anything with, I don't care if it's an ambulance. I don't care if it's motherfucking Teresa. I don't care if it's the Pope and the Pope mobile. If you encroach upon that sector, you're going to get lit the fuck up. Ambulance or no.
Right. Yep.
This is war. Yep. I don't know where people have, and Paul, I'm not talking about you, but I don't know where people have forgotten. This is war. This isn't playtime with Bonzo. This isn't let's coddle our enemy and do the equitable thing and care about their diversity. Fuck them. And fuck anyone who's still there. Sorry. You are now an enemy combatant. You have had a month to get the fuck out of Dodge. You chose not to. You are now a willing co-conspirator to terrorism, and you are going to die. That's it.
And they elected them.
Yeah, I know this. 17 years ago.
And so, well, and that's my thing is, so what's Israel supposed to do with it? You know, and I'm right with you on that. I agree with you on that.
Okay. So the next part of your question is, do they want the United States? They want the United States there for one simple reason. Because they know that other countries who have interest with the United States will not get involved. It is there to have Israel has a lot of strengths. One of their strengths, their integrated air defense system with Iron Dome, is great against low-lying missiles. But high-altitude planes or bombers that could be lent from other countries, those things are not Israel's greatest strength. They're a very small area. Places like Russia, Iran have bombing capabilities. They obviously want American air superiority to take away that, and naval. They don't want a Western flank. And they've got their Western flank covered because somebody's watching their six. That's why the United States is there. I've already explained this. They're there for water and air superiority from a defensive standpoint. And if Lebanon starts firing off missiles, you are going to see tomahawks shoved all the way up the asses of Hezbollah all night. We're going to light that place up like a Roman candle.
Yep.
That's why we're there.
And then so what happens after that? Do you see Iran jumping in if we hit Hezbollah?
Yeah, it's their biggest proxy in the area. I mean, Hezbollah is their biggest proxy. That they don't care about Hamas. Hamas is it might be the biggest proxy terrorist group in the area, but it's certainly not their largest. It's one of their smallest overall. They care about Hezbollah. And if they start hitting Lebanon, you're going to see Iran maybe get involved. But I'll be honest with you, Iran is posturing like they're scared of the United States right now. I think they know that
they all should be.
Well, I think Iran should be, because we'll send them into economic turmoil and cripple their economy with one strike. And I think they know that.
Right.
Amy.
I also think one thing that
Yeah. Let Amy go, and then go, Mike. Go ahead, Amy.
I have a question. I just have a question regarding Iran, because I feel like that's just playing with fire. Yes, we could easily take them out, but does that give, China and Russia and whoever else is like, oh yeah, let's go take out the U.S. now. Let's build get our little people together and go after them. Does that give them carte blanche then?
No. Because
no,
the most you're going to see is like a fourth order effect of, if the U.S. goes in, then we start dealing with Iran, that would allow more time and space for Russia to get more of Ukraine. And if that happens, then China would have less resistance to go for Taiwan. So like, in order to get to that, so many things would have to happen.
Yeah,
that it is very unlikely that
a lot of dominoes.
I think that's too far-fetched, unless it's a perfect storm of 15 things would have to happen before you get to that point.
And when your enemies are fighting each other, you let them fight.
Yep.
And there's no love lost between Russia and Iran. There's no love lost between Russia and China. Listen, when you're a tyrannical rule, the only people you care about is yourself. Okay? So if we think Russia and China and Iran are going to all of a sudden develop a conscience of thought about their neighbors to the west or neighbors to the south, they're not. They don't give a shit. The only thing Russia cares about is installing and creating pre-Bolshevik Russia and the Iron Curtain yet again. The only thing China cares about is economic superiority, and the only thing that Iran cares about is killing Jews and Americans. Now, not the people.
Right.
But the leadership of Iran, that's what they care about. That's why they want to nuke. And I have told everyone that listens, the number one biggest security threat to the United States right now is Iran getting their enrichment program complete. Because if they do that, come holy hellfire is coming to the United States and Israel. And we better wake the fuck up. And now is the time to hit Iran. We should have done it 6 years ago. But I don't want a war. I just want to flatten their systems. I want to create holy havoc in Iran. And if we can't hit those systems, then we need to blow up Oil Island and send them back to economically to the Stone Age and kill it, destroy it. Do what happened to Putin with Nord Stream. Take their energy away and Iran is crippled, period. Economically, it'll set them back 50 years. And everyone's going to be like, oh, why would you do that? Those people are going to, you know what? Those people need to have a revolution. Those people have been needing a revolution for 60 years. It's time for the people of Iran to overthrow the Shah, the Ayatollah, and the clerics and get their country back. It's time for a coup. And you know what? Starvation is a wonderful motivation for revolution. I'm sorry. I'm playing chess here. I'm not playing checkers. I'm sick of this shit. The Middle East needs to have a fucking leash put on it. Period. Mike?
Well, and okay, go
Go
ahead.
no,
Mike.
go ahead, Paul. It's your turn. Go. You go.
Yeah, Paul.
And that was part of my other thing was, part of me wants it to happen. And I will correct myself from earlier. It's not the countries. It's the Hamas, the Hezbollah, Iran, all these fringe groups that have been launching on Israel for decades, which is why the Iron Dome was there. Israel wants all of them gone. And if they do enough in Gaza to have Hezbollah jump,
all of them who?
Then we jump.
All of them who? All terrorist groups?
Yeah.
Everybody does. Russia does. Russia doesn't. Do you know Russia was the second largest killer of terrorists in the United States in the last 25 years? Do you know that they killed as many ISIS and Al-Qaeda?
Know that.
Yeah, Russia helped us. Putin helped Obama. Putin helped Trump. They assisted in killing terrorists in Syria and killing terrorists all over Africa. Russia hates terrorism too. Everybody hates terrorists.
And there's a bunch of ISIL in Russia that they also had to deal with in the Caucasus.
Yeah,
so.
That's correct. So, people, I'm not saying Russia's our friend, but the enemy of our enemy is our friend a little bit. And Russia, they hate terrorism. They fucking hate terrorism. But it doesn't mean they won't proxy Iran because Iran has something they need to fight their war in Ukraine. Russia cares about pierogies and snow and vodka and caviar. Okay. And they used to care about Sputnik. Now they care about bringing back old Russia, Soviet Russia, expansion. That's what they want. And they are never going to allow Ukraine to become a part of UN. They're not. Every time UN gets back on their feet, they're going to fucking blast them in the Stone Age again. And they will never be a part of UN. It's just not going to happen. And Putin, once their government starts to rebuild and if they get a treaty, and Mike's going to have an idea on this, they're going to infiltrate their government and they're going to make sure corruption and the oligarchs get in there. They're going to ensure they never become a part of the UN. This is what Russia's good at. They're amazing at disinformation. They're great at splitting divisions inside the country. They'll have multiple civil wars going on, probably closer to Poland on the western side of Ukraine this time. Russia is going to eat Ukraine's lunch from a destabilization standpoint. From here on out, they're never going to be a part of the UN. So, everyone just needs to relax with this. This Ukraine war is over. They just don't know it yet. So let's just focus on Iran. And somebody said we needed to hit them in 1970. Well, 1970 they didn't have the nuclear enrichment program they have now. I don't care about them in 1970. They were basically going to throw some gas cans and flaming tennis balls at us. Now they've got the ability to load up an ICBM, and now it's time to take them seriously. Anybody else?
I just have a question about Russia.
Yeah, go.
It's on our bucket. We've never been to Russia. It's on our bucket list.
Where did you find it?
I felt really
What
bad
is it?
about it, so I've been searching my closet every night and I found it.
Oh man.
What is it?
You're welcome.
I let her borrow it like a year ago and I haven't seen it. It's my favorite ad. I've purchased like 20 of them.
It's a CU buff
and
hat.
none of them fit. Oh god.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I said you threw it away.
It's my favorite.
I searched my room. I've
Aw.
been searching my room for months trying to find this hat for you.
Oh, I'm ready to cry.
Do you notice the Christmas shirt she's wearing?
Okay. All right. We love you. Come here. Give me
It's Christmas season in this
get out.
house already.
No, get out. Okay. Sorry. She
Same.
lost this. I let her borrow it. And this is my favorite CU hat like ever. And you can't find them anymore. It's a Zephyr. Okay. You had a question. Go ahead, Amy. I'm sorry. I'm just excited.
It wasn't really an important question.
Give it to me.
It was more of like a. It wasn't. I mean, it's a true question. I was wondering, when is it safe for us to travel to? I want to see Russia. Jason and I have always wanted to go there. It's on our bucket list. When can we go?
Never.
See Russia.
Never.
You're an American.
Yeah,
if they find out you're going to get followed, you're probably going to get accused as a spy and be in the gulag. Never go to Russia.
Don't go to Russia. Not now.
It's on my
Your
bucket
time to
list.
go
I
to
wanna
Russia.
see-
Well,
No.
pull it off
Okay,
the bucket
fine.
list.
Fine. Good luck. I'm not getting you out. I'm not. Mike
No,
and I
I'm
are
not
not
going.
forming a team. We're
I'm not
not
going
forming a
anytime
team to get
soon.
you out. This isn't going to be like, fucking the Mike and Matt show. Go to Russia to fucking break you out of the gulag. You're not
No,
going
not
to
anytime
Russia.
soon.
Okay,
but-
you're
No,
right.
it's not soon. This is not going to change.
They
have
40
Americans
years.
in the gulag that we have to trade so much money and people that we have to get to even get them out that it is not worth it. If you go to Russia, that's probably one of the dumbest things you're ever going to do.
I think she's teasing.
Right.
She wants to see it. I'll tell you, your time to see it was 1992.
Yeah.
No, 1986 to like 2004. It's over
I was
now.
in high school. Like I
Yeah, well,
mean,
guess
well,
what?
not in 2004, not in
Let me tell you,
2004,
let-
but like I mean, I was.
You've seen one Russia. You've seen them all. You want to go see Russia? You want to go see
Yeah.
Russia? Is that what you want to do? Great. Go to Kodiak, Alaska, and then come home.
Yep.
Okay. Go to Luxembourg and close enough.
Oh.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
just
you don't
love
need
the
to go to
history of Russia. That's all.
Here's the
We're
history of
history
Russia.
people.
You're hated by them for 99.9% of their existence that we've been alive. Russia has despised us. So don't let that World War II bullshit fool you. Okay. That was a mutual convenience. That was it, because the Nazis posed a bigger threat than the Russians. Trust me, we wanted to kill the Russians too. We just were done with war, and America's appetite for war was over. But if we could have bombed Japan and then brokered peace with Germany like we did, we wanted to go into Russia next because we knew what they were going to do. And that's exactly what they did, and they created a Cold War. All right. Paul, was there anything else? And I'm sorry if I came down on you, man. I'm very delicate about this stuff. It's like, I just want to talk. I want to stick to the facts. Israel,
I got it.
Israel didn't want this to happen. Israel, I don't believe they want it. Did they know? There's a possibility they did. Did they not take it seriously? It doesn't matter. Nothing here that Israel did is their responsibility over the last 17 years. You can go back in history, you go back 3,000 years ago and justify everything that's happening right now. But guess what? There's got to be a time we stop and say, look, can we look at the most recent history and decide versus trying to justify every atrocity that happens? Because if we continue to do that, we will never be on the right side of history. We will always just excuse this behavior. Gaza needs to go away forever. And then the West Bank, if it continues to do what it's doing right now, it needs to go away too. That's it.
Well, where do those people go?
Who cares?
Okay.
I don't care.
Just ask it.
Israel doesn't.
Well, let me ask you a question. Oh no, hold on. Let me ask you a question. When Mexicans come up here and they're illegal, do you care what happens to them?
I do to some degree. Yes, I don't. I mean, I want them to
Sure.
go back to their country, but I
Okay.
don't
I agree.
want them to go to harm's way.
I'm with you. I care what happens to them too. Can I ask you about the 27,000 Congolans that were killed last quarter? Did you care about them?
Yeah, of
No, because
course
you
I
didn't know what
did.
happened. Because you didn't know what happened.
Well, I did. I did
Oh.
personally, yes, but
You knew that? Well, okay. Because I listen, there's people that die every single day. And
I
I'm
know.
kind of like, it's not that I don't care if they die or not. I just don't care where they go. The Arab countries need to take the Arabs in. They're Arabs. They're not Jews. Jews have Christians, Greek Orthodox, and they have Muslims in their government. They live harmoniously together. But the Palestinians will never live harmoniously with the Jews. They'll let them in and they'll fucking murder them. They're raised from when they're 3 years old to kill Jews. They hate Jews. They cannot matriculate in Israel. They need to get them the fuck out of Israel. It's like putting Raiders fans against any other NFL team and having them sleep in the same hotel. What are you thinking? Of course there's going to be a knife fight that's going to break out.
yeah.
Get them out of Israel. Give them, annex a little piece of land in Saudi Arabia or some shit and let them live there.
Send them to Russia, maybe? I don't know.
No, just give them $30 billion to build infrastructure, to get some open trade routes going on, to go ahead and
But you can't
establish
do
a
that.
city and move them. It's 2 million people. It's not that fucking hard.
However, the money that's been given to them has been used for not for them. I mean, I know it's Hamas that takes this money, but we can't. Who are we going to give the money to? Like, you can't just.
Well, that's the point, is that you don't. You have the people establish their own government because Hamas are all going to die.
I hope so.
You're going to kill every single one of them or anyone who you think is Hamas. you're going to kill them. And then you take the people who are left, who didn't stick around and stick behind it, who actually supported Hamas, and you have to relocate them. I mean, listen, Native Americans 101, without the eugenics and the theological brainwashing, okay? Just stick them on a piece of land and give it to them. Give them money. Give them, every single Arab nation, give 0.01% of their overall GNP. Those people will have fucking $500 billion annually. And that's it. And you turn them into a prosperous nation. You don't give them a defense. You don't give them any type of military weaponry. And you stick them far away from Israel. And you stop this shit. It's not hard. But nobody has the balls to do it because everyone's afraid. Oh, what about those poor civilians? Those poor civilians, 91% of them want every Jew dead, including the kids. That's called a majority. You can't fix that with some goodwill. You can't negotiate with these people. They're fucking terrorists. The whole country. Mike, am I wrong? Am I crazy? Am I insensitive? Paul, you were over in the Middle East. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. And to go on your point of Israel, I recently saw a video from an Arab Israeli who was in the IDF and was a commander in the IDF. And going on your point to where, you know, Israeli, Jew, Arab, gay, not gay, you can be there.
Oh, yeah. Israel's one of the most accepting places on earth.
Right.
This goes back to Palestine. Like,
this Arab,
it's an ideology.
Wait. Yeah, go ahead. Explain. Go ahead, Mike. Kick in with that.
Well, no, like, this is an ideology. You are not going to change this by just shipping them somewhere and giving more money. You literally have to take out an entire generation, or you have to convince an entire generation that what they have been taught their entire life and what their religious leaders have taught them is wrong, and you don't need to wipe out all the Jews just so you guys can be prosperous. Like, you can live harmoniously together. But it's the same thing that we try to do in Afghanistan. You can't kill a couple people and expect it to be done. You either have to take out that entire generation, or you need to get that entire generation to realize, like, hey, what you've been doing probably isn't right, and we need to fix some things. So, like, it's a very hard decision on which way you're going to go with it. Obviously, the Israelis, you're going to take care of this generation of Hamas, but it's a long game that the world needs to play. And if the Arab countries aren't going to get behind it, then we're going to have this exact problem in 15 years, in 30 years, and in 50 years. It's just going to keep going.
That's right. So get them out of there.
And we've been having it.
Yeah, but we have it because we don't stop the problem. The problem is we allow a terrorist state, a caliphate, 2 caliphates inside Israel. One of them roughly the size of New Jersey, or a quarter of New Jersey, and the other one the size of New Hampshire, Rhode Island, that are terrorist nations in the territory of Israel. You give them the ability to strike Israel anytime they get froggy. You stick them in Saudi Arabia, you stick them in Libya, you put them in Northern Africa, and you have the Arab nations matriculate these people and do what I said, give them money. Not us. Fuck that. We're done with the money. Have them give 0.01% of their GDP and fund them. Do not allow them to have a military. Have constant inspections. If they start digging tunnels, you round up the people responsible and you behead them on national fucking TV. You go back to the old days of Sharia law and punishment through the eyes of Allah with scimitar and hot coals. And you send a fucking message. You guys are going to keep the peace or we're going to freaking kill you. This is not Ohio. This is not Sweden. This isn't Britain. This is the Middle East. And it's like, if people actually went there, they would understand. This is not a language that's barbaric to these people. It's their way of life. It's the only way Muslims understand who are completely indoctrinated and weaponized against anyone who is not Muslim, that they will understand what to do. Look at Iran. We slap them in the mouth once in a while. They back off. We killed Soleimani. What did they do? They shut up for 4 years. Now they're back. Time to go kill another one. It's not like this hasn't been happening for the last 75 years, the Middle East and the United States. The English, we blame the English and the Russians for using the United States to go in and perform regime change in Iran. But you know what? It's just because Russia and England had been dealing with it a lot longer than us. And they're like, fuck these people. We're done. We're not going to let them have a democracy. We're not going to let them thrive. We're not going to let them build a government. Why? Because we know what they're going to do. They're going to try to kill us. So United States, come on in here and pretend to be their friend and let's subvert their democracy. I don't know what else to say. It's not rocket science. I got to get to this next topic, Paul. I promised Mike that we would talk about it tonight. Thanks for calling in, Bubba. I appreciate the questions.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Thanks
for your opinions and your information.
Good to have you in as always, Paul. We love having you on. See you, buddy. Thanks for calling.
Yep. Thanks, Paul.
Paul's a nice guy. Bye. All right. Sorry, I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much here. But
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, you need to let it go.
Okay, I'll be right back. Geez. Sorry.
All right, all right, Mike. Let's get into this. I got it. I apologize, but man, we got to stop. We got to take the gloves off here. We just have to let Israel do its thing, okay, and let them answer for the atrocities. The world stage will figure out what they need to do. Mike, California shooting, officer cleared a 2021 shooting. Walk me through it. What's going on? What happened? And let's talk about it tonight.
All right. So basically, I just kind of want to use this like as a starting point to get a little further. But basically, this was a traffic stop that the suspect ended up fleeing. He was in a stolen vehicle. A pursuit occurred, and they ended up having to do a pit maneuver to actually get him to stop. Once he got out,
what's a pit maneuver? So they know.
Pit maneuver. Basically, what you do is the police officer will come next to the vehicle and they try to hit the front axle on the rear axle in order to cause a spin. So that way the driver will lose control and hopefully either they pin the vehicle or it'll mess up enough of the tires that it's no longer drivable.
I gave you I was doing physical hand signals to show the process.
Oh, were you? Oh, sorry. I wasn't looking at your screen. I was looking over my bad.
You did great. Go ahead.
I thought you were just giving Olivia signals for tonight. What was going to happen?
No. That's
we
Amy.
Don't
That's
those signals.
Amy. That's this.
Oh, geez.
That's that. Okay. So
wrong.
Go ahead, Mike.
Sorry.
So basically what happens is the driver comes out and then he sticks his hand towards his waistband. Now, this is where I kind of like want to kick off the discussion of he goes down towards his waistband and he pulls out like he's pulling a weapon, but it's really just his hand. In this case, the officer does use his firearm, fires multiple shots, and in this case, he did miss all those shots. But what I want to kind of get to for this is with everything happening, obviously October 7th in Israel, we just had the mass shootings up in Maine. This is a time I think that more of the public is going to get to having that conversation of, do I want to get a firearm? Do I want to conceal carry to protect myself? And when I just saw this video, this brought up some thoughts for me, like, you know what? I wonder if people are thinking of all the consequences of this, of if you make that decision to where, you know what, I want to carry a weapon and I actually want to be able to protect myself. What happens if you get in a scenario like this? If you have someone coming up in an aggressive manner towards you and they go down to your waistband, what's going through your mind? What are you going to do in that situation? Because obviously, as soon as you pull a firearm and you decide to pull that trigger, you can't get that bullet back. So, and if you're trained and if you actually have a good side alignment, side picture, you're going to likely end up taking a life. And once you do that, you lose a part of yourself. Whether it's justified or not, you're going to lose something and it's going to haunt you for a very long time. And it's going to take a lot for you to actually deal with that. So when I saw this video, I'm like, I just kind of wanted to talk through a few things to where it's like, if you were thinking of taking that next step of, hey, you know what, I want to get a firearm. That's great. Honestly, I'm one of those. I think everyone should have those and be trained in it. But I always see all these things out there like, oh, you need this $3,000 gun and it's going to do the best thing for you. Like, no. The easiest thing that you need to do is, if you want to do it, the first thing, know your state laws, because every state is completely different. The laws we have in Virginia change to West Virginia. And then if you want to get into concealed carry, your permit isn't going to be good in every state. You got to know the laws to know where you can carry on your permit, so that way you're not violating anything, because as soon as you get weapons charges, that's a whole other issue to go down. Then it's trying to actually pick out a weapon. Obviously, there's a million brands out there. I'm a Glock guy. That's what I grew up with, just because that's what my father carried, and that's what I learned on. But there's millions of manufacturers out there that you can pick. But it's one of those, if you don't know where to start, go to a firing range and you can ask them like, hey, I'm new. I want to try a couple of different weapons out. You can try revolvers, semi-automatic. Like, you got to figure out what's best for you. But the most important thing you're going to be able to do is get training, because you can have the most expensive gun with the best ammunition. If you aren't trained in what you're doing, when you get in a situation that's going to go live fire and be a two-way firing range, you're going to go back to muscle memory. So if you don't have that initial training and that initial start point, you're either going to go to fight or flight and you don't know how you're going to respond until that situation actually happens. So if you do want to go out and get that firearm, I would highly suggest immediately going into some training. So that way, with however you're going to carry, whether it's inside the waistband, outside, if you're going to carry it in a bag, you need to practice from that location to drawing and actually getting rounds on target from there. But then you need to be in different scenarios, because obviously, like the mass shooting, if you're out bowling with your friends, you got to know, like, hey, where am I right now? Where's the most likely place for someone to come in and actually do this shooting? Or where do I need to get my family safe? Once that's the case, am I going to go back in, or am I just going to protect my family? There's a lot of scenarios that you need to run through in order to like have your full awareness of, should I even get involved? If you see a carjacking next to you, is it better just allow that to happen and not get involved? Or are you going to be one of the ones that actually pulls your firearm that may escalate that situation? So there's times that you may have a firearm on you that may make it worse if you actually draw it. So it's not just as simple as like, hey, let's just go grab a gun, carry it, I'm going to be that Rambo. That is the worst mindset that you can do to get in this. And for this situation, for the officer, that he ended up like, a lot of these officers, like, they're trained, they have to go through the annual qualifications. Obviously, there's different levels of training that they can do, whether he was SWAT or not. But he ended up missing, and it was a relatively close shot, because when this happens, your adrenaline is going to be pumping, and you're going to get tunnel vision. So it's still very hard to get rounds on target. Obviously, like in this case, none of them did. So you're going to go back to whatever your lowest level of training is. So when I saw this, it just brought up all these questions of, do people really think about all these scenarios? When you are carrying, like, do you know how to clear your house? Do you know where everything is? If you're in your bedroom and you hear someone come through the front door, well, how far are your kids away? How do you get to them? There's these little things that you need to think about in everyday situations. If you go to a restaurant, okay, well, where are the exits? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to take my family? It takes 5 seconds to look around real quick, see all that, and you can go about your day. But there are just so many things and so much more responsibility once you start carrying that I'm hoping people are thinking about. But it's just one of those that I know I've always been taught that way growing up, just because my father was a Marine. He was in law enforcement, so that's how my entire life has gone. But as I meet more people, a lot of them are like, oh yeah, I carry, but I don't think about any of this. So Matt, I just want to get some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I would love to hear from Amy and Olivia first, because There's nothing that you said that isn't correct. You know, I think the only thing quickly that I'll add is it's not about knowing what to do. It's more about knowing what not to do when it comes to concealed carry. Because everyone knows you point the freaking pointy end at the person and pull the trigger and hope for the best. But when that plan gets thrown out the window, like for instance, in my house, and I'm not going to go into any specifics because I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to sweep my house. Hold on. Test.
Better.
So I'm in an elevated position in my home when we are at our most vulnerable. If someone comes into my house, there's nothing I'm going to be doing except waiting for your ass to come up to the stairs so I can kill you. Because you have a 90-degree angle with a 45-degree incline, and I've got elevated position. I've got angle trajectory, and my sight line is 70 times bigger than yours. You're going to die. I don't care if you're wearing full Kevlar. I'm getting a headshot, and you're down. I guarantee it. And you can bring 10 guys up, and you're going to lose this battle. Because if I don't pick it up, my kids are going to pick it up, my wife's going to pick it up, and you're going to have 4 people to fight against. You're going to lose this fight. Me going downstairs is the dumbest thing I can do. Me sweeping my house isn't a good idea. My best plan is to lock and load, know that I know that area, and I've got my flashlight ready to go on strobe. And the moment that prick walks in here, if he's wearing optics or he's not, it doesn't matter. He's not going to be able to see shit. And I'm making that 911 call first. And I'm just going to wait because I've got superior firepower. You got to know those things. And it doesn't mean you're waiting for that. It doesn't mean you're excited about that. It means that you know what to do in a situation. But then there might be a situation where you don't know where your wife's at. You don't know where your kid's at. And you got to go downstairs. Now you're at a disadvantage. Going downstairs is the worst possible fucking thing in the world when you're trying to sweep a house. It's noisy. There's no way to be effectively quiet. You have to cover a 180 and then immediately another 90 degrees with every step you take. It's a dangerous proposition. And more than likely, that person's going to have sightline to your ankle and your knee before you get down. And the chances of you make it down without a round is slim to none. So if you're going to leave your elevated position where you have tactical advantage, because Obi-Wan said it best, don't do it, Anakin. I've got the high ground. You better realize the disadvantage you're putting yourself in. So what Mike is saying, it's not prepared to a point where you just are a complete nutter, but a lack of preparation is a plan to fail. And you've got to get used to these things. You've got to get the muscle memory. You've got to get to understand that it's not going to be your shot selection that's probably going to be the issue. It's going to be the entire process of you drawing that firearm, engaging that target effectively, and you not making the right decision, which is to go through your training steps and execute versus overthinking the process or hitting a snag on your jeans, or you didn't put the right pants on, so they're falling down around your ankles and you're worried about that versus the firearm. Where are you going to put your mag light? Where are you going to put your extra mag? Where are you going to do this? Where are you going to do that? What if one of your arms get hit? How are you going to... These decisions, unless you think about them, they're going to get you killed. So what not to do versus what to do sometimes. Amy, Livia, you've went and fired a weapon. Your thoughts on this? Or what do you think?
Well, personally, I don't, which everyone knows this, I don't have my CCW. I've been saying for years I'm going to get it. I still have like a fear of it. I don't know I can't even rationalize it. I feel like I've done enough firearms training at this point in my life that I'm very comfortable using most different types of weapons. I've shot, I don't know, everything from like semi-automatic handguns to like fully automatic, like set up on the ground. I don't know what they're called, and not go with the names and terminology, but I've done like the rifles and all. Like,
was it a full semi-automatic?
I don't know. But I don't know. Whatever,
just fucking
like
with
it feeds through or whatever
just-
you lay and you have to
When you
hit.
hold the trigger,
Yes.
did it continue to go bang, 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 bang,
Yes.
bang, bang?
Yes.
Okay, that's an automatic.
Yeah. So I got
Those
to
are
do
fun.
that.
Yeah, those are really fun.
Yeah, so I feel like I've had enough, and that was actually I mean I almost like was in tears over it because I was just so emotional, like just the power, and I've done a lot of
You should
training
try
as well.
sleeping with me. I make
No.
Olivia
Well.
cry all the time.
Oh
Not the
God,
same
I don't
kind
know
of
if they're
tears.
tears of joy.
no.
Mike's
But-
like, it's not the same kind of situation. Go ahead, Amy.
Jeez Louise.
Go
I'm
ahead.
just
Sorry.
but as a woman, I'm a girl clearly. I identify as one still, born one. You know, I always have that
Get with the
fear.
times.
I'm
You're
always
not supposed to anymore.
That's
yeah,
right.
right.
Stop assuming your own gender, will you? Go ahead.
The state says no, but I mean especially when it's just me and my two kids, I feel like especially lately, like I'm uber paranoid about wherever we go. I've adopted this fear of movie theaters which I never had before, and I'm like, where's the exit? Who is this person walking?
You should. They're
know.
death traps. They're fucking
Exactly.
death traps.
So I'm just becoming more paranoid with my old age. I don't know if that's a paranoia thing or the world we live in, or that my kids are, you know, when they were little, they were easier to scoop up, but now I can't pick up my one kid at all. My other one, I can barely lift her now. So, you know, I'm thinking in my mind as a mom, like, how do I get my kids out of these situations if I'm by myself with my children? What do I do?
You don't. You eliminate the threat.
Right. And that's my whole point. And I feel like, especially for women, especially for moms, not just women, but moms too. Sorry, am I talking too much?
No, but Ethan walked in and just smacked the shit out of the light.
Oh, hi, buddy. Hi, E.
Say hi. Amy says hi.
Hello.
I hope you had a good Halloween. I get to talk to him
He
about
did.
his.
He had a great Halloween. Go ahead.
But no, just especially as a mom, I know there are certain programs where you can have someone come into your home and they'll say, okay, if there's an intruder that comes from this point in your home, you should take this vantage point behind here and stand this far back, and you should have this much. This, you know, there are companies and programs who will do that.
God, if only you knew. If only if you knew a couple guys who knew how to do that.
You guys
That's a great point.
Start,
you should definitely hire a third-party company.
Hire someone else, yeah.
Well,
yeah, you want to hire somebody who has CQC experience, because I don't think we've ever done that. It's really
you guys
good
are
call.
welcome anytime. Anyone's welcome at my house anytime. That's the thing too. We are in the public eye. I've had to kind of tailor back my life a little bit for some personal reasons, but it can be scary sometimes. It can be like, especially as a woman, and I have two kids, and I'm always like, I need to get the CCW. I know I need to do that. I've been saying it. I'm going to do it this year. It's 100% first thing I'm going to check off my list.
Yeah.
2024.
Liv, your thought? No. I think this is good. This gives us some groundwork, and I extended the show just a little bit, but I want to wrap this topic up because I think it's really. There's a couple of other things I want to talk about, but go ahead, Livy.
Well, I've taken the class and I have my certificate, and all I have to do is go to the courthouse and get the application, and mine's just pure laziness. I just don't make the time to go do it. So maybe we should make a plan, Amy, and do it together.
Yeah, that'd be.
But I mean, I just
courthouse enough anyway. So
yeah, I mean, I don't want to carry. That's the thing. Maybe it's because I know I'm not going to. I mean, I go to work, I go to the grocery store. That's about all I do. I don't really do anything. And if we're anywhere else, I'm with Matt and he's carrying. So I don't have to really.
Yeah, unless I die.
Yeah. Well, I know how to shoot the gun. I just take yours.
Yeah, it's a little bit. You hope that I'm right next to you, but let's be honest. If I'm right next to you, you're gone too.
Yeah.
Because if he got me, he got you. That's it. There's no choice. If I go down,
the bra carry thing, that's the one I'm going to get though.
Listen, here's my advice to you quickly is get yourself a shotgun for home defense.
Yeah,
and
we got that.
And you don't need, my God, you don't need a 12 gauge. You can understand you don't need the biggest, baddest thing. But the problem is that you shouldn't start out with a shotgun. A shotgun, everyone says it's the easiest gun to shoot. That's bullshit. It is not the easiest gun because navigating a shotgun is a pain in the fucking ass in a house. So if you're on a flat ranch style home without a lot of corners with an open floor plan, shotgun's beautiful. Going around a corner with a shotgun, you got to know what you're doing or it's going to get taken away from your ass. Everyone's like, an AR-15 is a great home defense weapon. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, a Glock is a fantastic weapon. It is one of the best. And if you don't know how to use it, you don't have a tactical shotgun, which is a little bit lower profile, a little shorter, a little bit easier to manage with a pistol grip, those type of things, you're going to want a Glock. And you got 17 ways to Sunday to put that person down. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's just an easier ride, and it's an easier thing, from flashlight to laser targeting to optics to reticles to flashers. Also an AR, if you want to go deaf, because this is what's going to happen. If you fire that AR-15, you're going to go, when you're done, you're going to be deaf. I don't know if you know this, but that is an extremely loud fucking weapon. And it is loud. When you shoot it inside, it is like 192 some odd decibels. It is like 30% louder than the loudest concert you've ever been to. It's a loud weapon. So shooting a gun in... Go ahead.
Isn't the best home defense going out on your balcony with a double-barrel shotgun and pointing in the air and clacking it off?
Yeah, you ever the sound? Yeah, that'll make you shit your pants. You know what's better? Makes you shit your pants is full nervous system control with a round to the cranium, because you shit yourself there too. You're not getting a warning. You come into my house, there's no freeze. No, it's unload, and when you see me, you're gonna get. There's just I don't know, man. Maybe I've got some sort of thing inside of me that doesn't really have a lot of moral turpitude or something. But if you come into my house, I'm assuming it's that you're there to kill me, because why else are you in my home uninvited? So that's my assumption. And we're going to go backwards from there. I'm not going to clack off a shotgun and give you a warning. I'm sorry. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to shoot you, because I've got 2 kids and a beautiful wife that I want to see tomorrow. And there is no way that we're going to have a conversation at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night with me in my underwear, with me holding a gun at you, not knowing what you have. The conversation is going to be, I need to see a shrink and I need a really good lawyer. And that's it. That's it. There's just no conversation about it. Mike, talk a little bit about an officer who probably has more range time than most civilians. Mm-hmm. And that's not saying much, considering that a lot of cops go to the range once a year for quals, and that's it. Maybe a couple days before to practice, or a couple days after if they have to re-qual. Of how an officer can unload a Glock and miss every single shot at a negligible 15 feet. But when they stand at a target in a stationary position, they can ring all day long. Why do they miss during the high tense situations?
I mean, all of it's going to be adrenaline, because, and as we said before, you're going to go back to your lowest level of training. So if you go out once a year to requal, or maybe a couple other days, you don't have that muscle memory of when you're hyped up, when you have that high adrenaline, when you have that tunnel vision. What are you going to do? Because every time you go to the range, you probably just get there, you lay your ammo out, you load up, and you're just planking. Your heart rate's not up. You didn't do any kind of exercise before, because a lot of these times, maybe it's a foot pursuit that gets to a location, and now you've got to put rounds on target when you're tired. You're trying to listen to a radio to hear where everyone else is at. You're trying to put commands out on the radio to get people in the right position. You've got 5 million things going on. And then you have to identify, is this person a threat right now? And if he is, then you have to put rounds on target. There's so many things that go into it that no one actually gets to that level of training to where, like, gets you as close to that situation as you can. So that way, when it does happen, you're actually prepared. And that's one thing, like, not to go too far off of it, but that's what I did like in the Marine Corps, is they would get in your face. They would amp things up, so that way you got used to a higher level of stress. So that way, the first time that I actually got shot at, yes, it was a big deal, but it's something that you can manage, because you've been close to that range before, to where, you know what, as soon as that happens and those rounds go past you, you know what to do. You're like, oh, all right, time to go to work. It's time to just shoot, move, and communicate. Where's the threat? Identify that, and then move from there and make sure all your buddies are good. Like, there's things that you can do to get there, but just people don't train that. And obviously, like, I don't want a bunch of civilians going out and like getting to that level, but you have to understand, if you don't train at a certain level and train in a certain way, you're not going to know what you're going to do. And you can be like one of these officers and miss every time on a relatively close target.
Yeah. The only other thing I would say about this, and this is, you need to shoot something you're comfortable with. And everybody starts with a shotty or starts with a revolver or gets a 40 cal because of the stopping power. Listen to me. None of that shit matters. I don't care if you have a 22 or if you have a 45. Your shot selection is going to determine what happens to that person. And you put it right through their left eyeball, I don't care how fucking badass they are or how much momentum, they're going to drop like a sack of potatoes. Your shot selection is extremely important. But the thing, two things. Someone said, that's why I like Matt. I think Kyrie.
Oh,
That's how you say it.
Yeah.
Kyrie, yeah. No, it's Kyrie.
It's
I don't
Kyrie.
remember. But doesn't matter. I'm bad with names. He said, that's why I like Matt. He has a dark side. I don't have a dark side. I don't have a dark side. I'm not an evil person. There's no negotiation in this conversation. It's like me spending 25 cents on a stick of gum. It's a transaction. You come in my home, you're not going to come out. And I'm not going to not sleep at night. It's a process. You made a decision. But the thing that people need to remember is two things. Training is absolutely paramount, but rushing a shot is the worst thing you can do. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And I will purposely, if someone's drawing on me and firing at me, I won't necessarily take cover if it's an equal weapon. If someone has a handgun, I'm not going to go dodging behind a wall, because I trust in my training that I can bring that weapon up to bear and you can take a shot or two and you're the one that's going to fucking miss. And my 2-shot selection is going to put you down forever. But the moment that I go ahead and hide or get behind a wall allows you to close the distance between you and I, increases your ability to hit me. So you've got to know at some point that you might stand there and get your shot off. But you've got to make these micro decisions and put yourself in a situation in a dry fire exercise with a plastic handgun and know what that feels like to make the right decision. And if you don't train for that and you don't have somebody who can train with you on that, then you're going to be responsible for thinking through that process multiple times before you get into it. So that's what I recommend. Take your time, think about things, and play the scenario. Walk around your house and say, what if I had to come downstairs? What would that look like? And I guarantee most of you are like, shit, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I know what I would do. And ask yourself this, what would I do in a fire too? Think about that. Or what do I do when CO2 goes off? What if I wake up to a flood? I mean, you got to ask yourself questions. And this is the way people who are observant and who are operationally and situationally aware think. Yeah, change the way you think. That's it.
Yeah.
Liv, you have been amazing tonight. Unfortunately, the topic sucked. And I'm sorry, and I love you. And do you have anything to say besides that you look beautiful?
Thanks. I'm just really tired, to be completely honest. I didn't have much to say because I'm just exhausted, but I'm here.
Well, we love you and thank you for being here. Michael,
Go to YouTube, subscribe.
Go to YouTube and subscribe. We're having a great subscribe month. YouTube is growing, doing well.
12 left or something.
Well, help us out. Mike, you got your final minute, big guy?
I'll keep it nice and short. Just eat crayons. They're amazing. They're delicious. They're a great garnish.
I have a question for you.
Yeah. And I got to answer a question that somebody asked.
Okay.
When you're done.
Well, I'm just wondering, Mike, do the different colored crayons have different flavors?
Yes,
or do they
do.
all taste the same?
Yes.
Green
What's your
actually is my
favorite?
favorite. Green is my favorite. Red after that. But yes, they do all have like a slightly different waxy taste.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Somebody said, the pump shotgun thing, Mike was reading off a comment. I really didn't believe that Mike was going to rack a load on a shotgun. I didn't think he said that. So trust me.
No, I was going back to the Joe Biden.
Yeah. Mike doesn't strike me as a person who's stupid. So one other thing is, this is my concealed carry 24 hours, 7 days a week. And there's only one modification to this. And it's right here on the actual mag, which is essentially allows me to wrap, because I have pretty big hands, around for grip action. And then when I double tang it and I stack thumbs, it allows me not to climb up on the slide. Does that make sense? I keep my hand down lower because I don't want to get bit by the slide, but I want a high tang grip for control. Because I don't want to see any of the gun, and you don't. You see the slide, but you don't see any of the handle at all. And that's a good grip. It's a great grip. And that thing ain't moving. My elbows are bent like they should, and I can bring that weapon up into aim, right? It's the only modification I have. Now on my AR, I got all the bells and whistles. You want to rock and roll, it's here. But this, because I don't want it to fail. 3 pieces is what makes up this gun, and 1 magazine. And then 17 little rounds. 16. I don't carry one in the pipe. So 16 in the rounds. This thing is as simple as it gets. And the moment I put a reticle on it, the moment I put a flasher on it, the moment I put a flashlight on it, the moment I decrease the trigger pull, the moment that I put a little fucking Punisher symbol on the back of it or something, it gives it opportunity to fail. So although my home defense piece has a light and has a laser on it, I don't need those things to work to be effective. And my wife will tell you, in the dark, it might as well be daylight, because I don't need light to see. I have got a beautiful gift of having amazing night vision. It is awesome. My eyes are really good in the dark, and they adjust quick. But I'm not gonna put a flashlight on there and get dependent on a laser sight and get lazy, because at any time that battery can be dead. At any time, your weapon may take a corner, and dare I say, it could take a round. You don't know what's going to happen. So don't over rely on technology. Mike, go ahead.
And if you're going with someone who's trained, if I see that light, I know where to shoot. Or if I see that laser, I know where I'm putting my rounds. And I know the same thing for Matt. The only modification I have to my carry is I have a single stack Glock 48 that I switched it to a metal mag release, so I can have a metal magazine. So I go from 10 to 15 rounds. But yeah, other than that, 0 modifications.
Yeah, my HK, flashlight and a laser for my home carry. But that's because there's times where I might need a light, but I'm not using it. I'm not going to use it when I come downstairs. It's a 40 cal, and I got a double stack on that son of a bitch. So I don't modify my handguns. I don't need to. All these guys that put these bells and whistles and shit on there, modify your rifle, right? That's a different. If you need 50 rounds, you're already fucking dead. So that's what one of the Master Chief taught me. Master Guns taught me was simple. First time we went into shooting exercises and live fire exercises, he's like, what do you guys want? And guys are like, I want this and I want that and I want this and I want extra rounds. And he's just like, dude, if you need that many, you're in a firefight. For home defense and things like that, you don't need that shit. You know, and also your shot selection sucks. If you need 16 rounds to put a guy down, you might want to work on your training. Mike, I don't know how you feel about that. Do you go over stopping power or rounds? What's more important to you?
To me, it's one, I don't want to let anyone know that I'm actually carrying. But then when I want to keep as low profile as possible. And yeah, again, I don't need a big round. Like I carry a 9mm, and sometimes it's a 380 auto. So like I don't need a big round. Everything is shot selection and where you're putting that round. I agree. Because even one of them I have is a 22. Like you don't need something big. You just need to put it in the right place.
That's it. You put it in the right place, you turn somebody's lights out. But like I said, if you need these guys that have 4 mags and all this, you're trying to go to war. Your job's to get home. Your job's to defend your home or get home. And if you need 4 magazines when you're going to sweep your house, you better pick up something bigger. And also people are saying an AR-15 inside your house it's going to go through the wall and that wall and that wall. You need to understand is that you're responsible for that round, and wherever it lands, you're going to be held responsible. So you don't want to be using a bazooka in your house, okay? You also don't want to blow the shit up out of your house. You don't want to kill your cat. You don't want to hurt your kids. Just start small and go get your carry first, because all of this is a moot point if you don't have something to defend yourself. That's probably the number one thing. Go get your carry. Go do the 8-hour class, check the box, go stand 9 feet, 12 feet, and 15 feet from your target. Feel really cool that you hit those targets, and then come home with your new firearm and break it apart, clean it, learn a little bit about it, and then sign up for a defense class and learn how to use your weapon. That's my advice. All right, Amy, last word.
I think she froze.
I think she's sleeping.
You bored her. She fell asleep.
She's all right. Listen, everybody, I appreciate it. By the way, one last thing. When somebody says shot selection, I completely agree, shot selection. But if you've got a guy who's 6'7" and 280, you better when you say shot selection, you better be able to do it. Because I've seen video and I've seen guys take rounds, 9-10 rounds of a 9mm, and that distance of 10 or 15 feet, they still are alive. You know how to put that round to hit the apricot or put lights out. Put them in a position where they can't walk anymore. Take out a kneecap, spinal cord, base stem of the brain, or eyeball. If you and you're telling me you're gonna be able to hit the heart, listen, guy on Wanted who trained with Angelina Jolie, I don't care how good you are, the lower probability is never the right solution. High probability targets and shots are the right way to go, and center mass is usually your best option. But if you do that, the chances of putting a person down in 1 or 2 shots, like my size or Mike's size, with a 9mm are slim to none. Mike, did you want to add anything to that? Am I crazy, or am I on the target or not?
Oh yeah, no, it's one of those, you do not realize what the body can handle. Because I've got friends who got blown up, lost both legs, and were still able to pick up a weapon and put rounds down target. So exactly what Matt said. Like, if you're doing this, if you get in a situation where you have to shoot, you better put enough rounds, or you better empty that magazine to where the job is going to be done. And also realizing if there is follow-on targets, you still need ammunition to make sure that you're safe. But yes, the body is an amazing thing. It can take a lot of punishment. So
it's hard to kill.
We've
said this before. It's hard to kill a person. It's not easy. And they don't want to die. And nobody wants to die. And the human body he's right. They're resilient. You can take 50 G's and still live. That's a lot. A little 9mm bullet, it's not always going to do it. So shot selection's nice. It's a nice thing to say, but there's nothing like a 45. Just let you know. There's nothing like a giant slug that leaves a hole this big. Well, that big. Does some damage. Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. We know we were a little late tonight. We appreciate it. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back Monday. Mike and I are on at 8 a.m. 8 and 8. Mike, tell them 8 and 8. What does that mean?
8 and 8? Well, it's for me, so I can remember what it is, but that way we can keep it consistent. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 8 p.m. Tuesday, Thursdays for Matt and Mike in the morning, 8 a.m.
You said Matt and Mike in the morning correctly.
I did it right this time? Oh,
so proud of you, dude.
I learned you can teach a Marine something.
Can I just chime in for 2 seconds?
Yes, Amy, go ahead, sweets. Sorry, I feel like I haven't let you talk tonight. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I've talked a lot.
Fix your internet?
Stay in my place. Get back in the corner. That's my first time being on with Mike, so I just wanted to say hi. I'm Amy. Nice to meet you, Mike. This has been great. I've been watching you, but I haven't actually met you, not in person or on here. So, anyways, it's great to be here with you tonight. That's all.
Oh, thank you, Amy. I appreciate it.
Don't you remember we saw Mike and Tammy's diner, and you looked at him and said, "Dude, he's freaking short." And I said, Amy,
who is that midget over there in the corner?
She said,
have we been to Tammy's together? I feel like I never know.
He looks like, okay, you know what? Don't get personal, Amy Robinson.
Sorry.
She's
it's okay.
Louise.
I brought up when you didn't come over to my
Robinson's.
house after a party, so that's okay.
Listen, it's
I can be a
okay.
late
You need me. Amy is an extremely good friend, and I have not been the best friend back to her. So she's right. I don't know about that. Thanks for watching, folks. Stop by thedumbshow.com. Get yourself your red shirt. You can't get my Colorado Buffaloes hat, but my daughter found it. I'm so excited. I can't believe it. I'm so happy. I love this hat. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. We'll see you Monday, and we'll see you Tuesday morning with Mike and Ike. Hey, guys, thanks for being here tonight. We love you. Appreciate you. Have a good one.
Night, everybody. Love you guys. Good night.
Good night.
See you, everybody.
See, sometimes